I don't know why I'm holding this off.
It feels good today, sitting back in the winner's circle. It's been a hot minute. I'm not going to lie. Hopefully today, though, I can seal another win, keep a win streak going. I think by now I'm starting to get good at deck building with the help of some friends, and today we might be able to seal another win. Strike of Neo. Oh, and Alex is going to be able to tell you all about it instead of me today. But for me, on my hand, I got to spin the wheel, hopefully get some tournament packs to bust open, because we're opening TP8 today. Alex may have gotten lucky with his TP7, pulling double breaker, but TP8 I can get something much better than breaker. I can pull, ladies and gentlemen, a Harpy's Feather Duster. It's in the super rare slot, so it's not guaranteed. It's not easy to get, but there's a chance to if I can roll a tournament pack. Kind of want to stay away from all the wild cards because I don't think anything from Cyber Dark Impact was relevant. So let's see what we can get after we spin this wheel. Beautiful. That's what I love to see. The tournament packs. TP8. Let's bust them open. Alright, so 3 packs, tournament pack 8. Where are they at there? Tournament pack 8, the last of the tournament packs here, and then we move on to the champion packs? I don't even know what we move on to next. I think it might be turbo pack. 3 of them. Let's get going. 3 cards per pack. Feather Duster, let's go. Okay, Ultimate Offering. I'm not at all upset about that. That is a banned card that I really, really wanted. That's going to be something useful later down the line. Not quite incredible now.
The easiest way I can do that right now is with voiceless voice.
Honestly, that's not good.
My god, I forgot you get 5.
Tournament pack 8. Duster? Ah, that's a super rare, man. That could have been a Duster. Duname's Dark Witch, 1800, light vanilla. Nothing special there.
I guess everyone's using voiceless voice right now.
$94 for a super. Is that even correct? Holy
Makes me feel less special for using ritual monsters as well.
God, we pulled a $100 card! That's crazy! Yeah, tournament pack 8.
What a crazy hand.
Let's get into our box, though, of Strike of Neos.
I gotta hand it to Gage. He was able to bring it all together last episode and claim that victory. So congratulations,
Okay,
Gage.
cool.
We're definitely gonna need it, buddy, because you still have a long way to go. But now we're gonna be delving into Strike of Neos. Strike of Neos was released on February 2007 and actually debuted one of the coolest archetypes ever, being Six Samurai. You can see right here with Grandmaster
Okay, wow,
Six Samurai.
this guy's starting hand is crazy too.
For this event, Grandmaster of the Six Samurai was also the promo card as a super rare version. You see here it's a secret rare.
Ooh, only 2 specials.
The promo card
Maybe
itself
it
was
was
going for
useless.
about $20 or $25, and if you wanted to
Mikanko?
sneak peek, it was only $20, so you get the promo and your 5 packs. But since Grandmaster was $20 to $25, it was literally like just getting free packs as long as you could sell off the Grandmasters. And that's just a funny little story. I think I ended up getting like 6 or 7 sneak peeks because they didn't care. You were able to just get as many as you want back in the day. Some stores still do that, let's be honest, but this was more when they did it like large official events, not just like store hosted. It was kind of more like a regional where a bunch of people would show up. I'm not sure if this is when Upper Deck still owned everything or whatever, but still an interesting story nonetheless. One card that I am incredibly excited about is Neo-Spacian Granmole. This card is actually very powerful.
Another Ash Blossom. Another triple tap. What the fuck?
Neo-Spacian Granmole is battling, it will bounce both the mole and that monster back to the respective player's hands.
And then the monster in the hand.
You have board presence and your opponent's just setting a monster, you can just normal summon Granmole, bounce it back to their hand and the mole, and get in with whatever you already have on field. You're not developing your board, but you're keeping your opponent at bay, and in a much slower format like this, Granmole is actually extremely powerful. Here you can see all these Six Samurai cards. All of them have a special effect if there are multiple Six Samurai on the field. Yaichi pops face down, spells and traps come on, I believe pops face up, spells and traps. Uriza can attack directly.
I guess that was placed there to make the opponent think it was Infinite Emperor.
With at the end of the damage step, and Iro is kind of like Sasuke Samurai, where it's able to just destroy a face-down monster immediately, but it's also 1700 attack, so that's nice. There's also great Shogun of 2 or more Six Samurais. You can just special summon this for free. It's 2500, so that's
oh wait, I thought he top decked it. Right, I forgot he searched it
so it's pretty
a while back.
That instant.
Or drew. Either way, that's both are unlucky.
This particular episode, we might have to wait till the later sets once we get some of the more playable monsters, but this was the first, introductory set for the Six Samurais, and their initial support wasn't the worst. Now, this is what I'm the most terrified about. There's more Dark World support
poor
in
thing.
this set. And I know Gage in the last episode pivoted off of that, but if there's a reason to go back to Dark
My
World,
goodness,
it's
not a
this.
single ritual
Rainbow's not
monster has shown up for
necessarily the best. It has to specifically be discarded by an opponent's card effect.
the guy we're viewing.
It basically Regekis or Harpy's Feather Dusters the opponent, so that's pretty good. But Kaki and Gren are what I'm more worried about. If they're discarded by a card effect, Kaki can just target a monster on the field and destroy it, and Gren can target a spell or trap and destroy it. And why that's so good is because Dark World Lightning then can hit multiple cards. It gives him just much better Dark World cards that are going to interact with my cards.
Little Knight.
Better pool of playables. So again, I don't know if he's going to go that route because he seems to have
Nibiru fires off at last.
So we're going to have to see what happens. DD Crow is also a card that originated in Strike of Neos, and this is a hand trap that still sees play to this very day.
Not before FB Little Knight also gets to do its thing.
It's a nice 1-for-1. It helps interact with your opponent and stop their plays.
Why does it only have 0?
Series, we don't have tons of graveyard recursion. I guess I could use it to stop him from getting to Emperor if he has like only 1 light or 1 dark, but is that really worth it? Probably not. Maybe in the future when we get more recursion synergy, this could become more playable, but a nice card to pick up nonetheless. Twister is actually a huge piece of removal for both of us to have access to. It's a quick play spell. You pay 500 life points, target a face-up spell or trap card on the field, and destroy that target. Again,
because they were sent to the graveyard before the Nibiru token could take their attack stats.
But if Gage is really worried about cards like Macrocosmos and Dimensional Fissure, he could just play a couple copies of Twister to really just take care of them, and then he doesn't have to worry about it ever again. And the last point that I wanted to touch on with this set was the reintroduction of secret rares in core sets. So initially there was 2 secret rares per set, now we have 8, and that was how it continued to be for quite some time. The secret rares actually didn't really have much to do with the set in general that they were printed in. As you can see here, these are tons of fairy support cards. Neo Parshath, Meltiel, Sage of the Sky, Harvest Angel of Wisdom, Nova Summoner, Radiant Jural, Galen Duo.
It's still control decks trying to out-control the other.
Because they were so rare, and people didn't know if the next best deck of the format was
actually so funny.
Some of these secret rares. But again, just a really interesting part of Yu-Gi-Oh's history that we have these cards.
Zombie Vampire.
They were gone from core sets for
Not
so
gonna
long.
crash.
Wraps it up for Strike of Neos. We've got 20
no equipment left
open, so let's get.
Oh, never mind. They float. I forgot. Oh, Max C-top deck.
We get lucky this time around. Mainly looking for, what am I looking for?
You hate to see it.
Dark World stuff is going to be perfect with our package.
And there's and those float effects are mandatory special summons.
It's not like terrible, it's the one that pops a monster when it's discarded. That's actually pretty good. But I'm mainly looking for good ways to discard. And the best one is the super rare slot Dark World Dealings.
Why don't you keep SP Little Knight?
Sure, we take it, not too bad. Let's go to the Man, already an ultra rare.
This is gonna be.
Never wanted to
no, this
bad boy.
is different guy.
It is an ultra rare pack number 2. That luck just keeps coming. Let's keep busting. Another ultra rare and a grand. Okay, I'm gonna take the grand.
Forced back into the extra.
Pack number 5. Got 2 ultra rares. Both of them worthless. But hey, that is a first edition error. Well, I'm more excited about the grand.
Whoa, cool animation.
Nice. Wow, great Shogun Shien. Oh, look, we're getting all the 6 samurais.
Holy shit, turn 7.
I think a lot of them are in the lower.
This is insane. This must have taken like 2 hours.
Fucking wow, that's dope.
24 packs of Strike of Neos. I'm excited. I don't really know what I'm particularly looking for in this set because nothing in this set is really game-changing. We do get some nice cards that are very niche in their use, but let's go ahead and see what we get. See, this is what I'm talking about. Gren and Kaki.
Alright, still can't go for game.
Go back to that Dark World strategy.
Ooh, Ash Blossom. Technically not bad, but at the same time, worthless.
In Strike of Neos, and this is a key piece of the
This is why you don't run 3 copies.
I know I have access to Demise because I did pull one, and I think I actually got one as a
and that's
another episode. I'm not exactly sure, but I have 1 or 2 copies, and I think I also got Doom Dozers as well. Problem is, I don't have the rest of the pieces. You know, I don't have enough Senjus or Manjus to be able to really be able to capitalize on this.
Horus got dunked on really bad.
But I don't think it's going to happen. Alright, so our
Horus was in control of the match for most of the game, but like couldn't capitalize on any of them.
Moment, but later on, this card is going to be huge. Transmigration Prophecy is also a very cool card. This card is
I wanna see someone fighting with Megaliths.
because of some like moves you could do or something like that. But this card's kind of like DD. A trap form. Instead of targeting a card, you
This one's just another voiceless voice matchup.
Graveyards, and you shuffle them back into the respective opponent's deck. So instead of being able to just take care of one card, you can take
Against the
care of
control-oriented deck with her
both of them back into his deck.
Curly.
Problem is he gets the resource back, but at least it deters Emperor. Kind of a neat card. Plus,
Okay, this is a very boringly built voiceless voice deck. Probably just stole it from YGO Pro.
In the secret rare slot. Oh, I forgot all this fairy stuff is secret rare. Probably never gonna find the chance to be able to actually play a full fairy deck because everything is literally secret rare. But hey, I think this is the first set in a while they brought back secrets. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that's right. Destroyed by battle sent to graveyard stuff like fairy.
Here comes the turn 1 Skull Guardian.
Worse, shiny. What? Oh, I guess if Sanctuary's on the field, I can add Air Knight. Dude, I have Air Knight Parshat and Sanctuary Disgust. Bro, I have the whole deck together. That's crazy. Second Grand, number two. Love to see it. Really good card. Hopefully get the 3 there.
Get that back to hand so you can keep summoning on the further turns.
Combo there with no summon. Okay, there it is, ladies.
Do they have Saurabis on hand?
Grand, you'll love this. Yeah. I actually might play it or side him or something. Actually, far. Great.
They sure do.
Oh, yes! Dark World Healings, the first one. It'd be nice if I had more of those, but that's super sick. I am not gonna lie, it's so incredible. Dark World Healings.
2 voiceless voices on field, not that that does anything. Ooh, a relinquish.
Wow, so there's an
Negate the summon, yep.
Elemental Hero Low Neos. Again, I've been having some really weird ultimate rare luck lately.
Fuck
and a lot
that,
of
but there's still 2 cards in hand.
But that's a crazy one. That's really, really cool. Again, for the purposes of an online environment, it doesn't really matter that it's ultimate rare, but for anyone who's a fan
Old
of
man's on the field.
ultimate rares, they would have loved to see this on camera. There's a copy of Twister. Again, this isn't going to be the most pivotal or crucial card, but if we ever get to a point where one of us is playing a lot of
Evenly matched to end the combo off.
Trap removal, Twister could be a card that we can side deck, and it's a nice way to kind of just 1-for-1 those types of cards. And I guess the ultimate rares keep coming. There's an ultimate rare Neos Force. Are we gonna play it? Absolutely not. Is it cool? Of course it is. Wow, so not only did we get an ultimate rare Glow Neos, we also just got an ultra rare Glow Neos to accompany. Again, these elemental hero fusions are always at like the top end of the rarity scale in a lot of these packs for quite some time, so it's really weird that a lot of the chase cards for such a
lot of
long
materials.
history weren't really too desirable by the majority of players, aside from people who are just in love with the anime, because cards themselves aren't exactly that great, and it made the top end of these packs actually not nearly as desirable.
Card Trader. Card Trader was a super rare? Who wanted a super rare Card Trader back in the day? Really? Probably like the worst pull of the set, man. That's not
Nice.
good. That's another super rare.
That's
though.
definitely more than enough to wall off.
Oh, G Pro! I didn't get any probes yet. But look, G World World. 1,000. Don't expect to play.
Unfortunately, yep, they have multiple copies of Skull Guardian.
Get another Dark World Healing. Alright, last 2 packs. Altogether, I'm super satisfied with this opening, actually. I don't think I've gotten too terrible. I got only 1 DD Pro, which is kind of unfortunate, but I got 3 grand. But you know, I think that's pretty alright. Wrapping it up with nothing too special. I'm actually pretty pleased with this. I got a secret rare. I think all the hollow. Besides the ultra rares, I didn't want any.
Why didn't you use Voiceless Voice to get another
Let's see what we
back row on the field again?
Of Twister, you know, this is pretty good. Again, if we ever get into that position where we
No, because you're just gonna normal summon one.
way to go about it. It was actually played back in the day because back then there weren't many good options for spell and trap removal. So Twister was what people had to use. Well, guys, we only have a few packs left, and it hasn't been looking too great. Only 1 copy of DD Crow. Here's a hollow G Warwolf. This is just a 2,000 attack level 4, which is kind of cool, but again, that's all it does. It doesn't do anything.
Little
It
Knight.
still doesn't run over something like Gravekeeper Spy because they were still hesitant to go over that 2K threshold for level 4 vanilla. But you know, it is what it is. Can't really do much.
What?
Let's get a DD Shady Crow, and oh wow, we got a Rainbow. Again, I'm not playing the Dark World strategy, so Gage would have liked that more than me. And again,
Oh my god, they timed out. They must have been taking a while to do those plays.
For our opening, it was fine. We got a lot
I guess that was Little Rich Kid's first time using
let's go ahead and
the latest trendy deck.
We got a lot of work to do.
Alright, so here's what we're looking at for today. There's not a lot of changes with that. I'm going to start off by saying that. There's not a lot of changes. Most changes I made were actually in the side deck, as you can see. I decided to do something interesting. I don't know if I'll actually apply it, but we'll see if it comes down to it, if I'm really feeling it. I might smokescreen into a Dark World strategy. I have the majority of the cards here, the light one dealing, all the good Dark Worlds in there. I might, if Alex has decided to switch up his strategy away from Macrocosmos, that might be a good plug in there to throw him off guard. Then again, I don't know what he's playing. He's still playing Jar again, too. That's something great. But as again, to see what he's playing. I barely access the side deck at all anyways, so using it to like do something wild like this is okay with me. The only change to the main deck is actually super small. I took out the Treeborn Frog because I've just been so depressed with it. It's been so bad. Treeborn Frog has not done anything, so I traded it for a second Gravekeeper's Guard. I think these Gravekeepers, the spies of the guard against his current strategy of the Macrocosmos aggro deck, they're so good. 1900 is huge, 2000 is massive. It's just way too big for him to get over with his breakers or his DD survival.
Let's just fulfill the dailies.
It comes down to it, these cards are the best for it, I think. Altogether, though, I didn't really change much else with it. I thought about putting another feature, but I decided against it. So I'm pretty okay with this list here. I think
is this an AI?
That's Dark World. Hey, it might be an epic.
I literally lost once.
But we'll see what Alex is on to. But no. Good luck, Alex.
Okay guys, so this is the deck we are bringing to today's duel. A little bit different. We didn't really go with anything from Strike of Neos because nothing was too relevant, but we did make some changes to the deck here. So the most notable change is that I'm no longer playing the Banishers of the Radiance.
Dost thou have Max C?
Gage is not playing Dark World.
Why can you not activate Max C during standby? You can do that in dueling Nexus.
That deter Emperor regardless. So I'm not really super worried about trying to play Protect the Banisher anymore, and if he's playing a much more well-rounded deck, Banisher just really can't make the cut. I need more cards that are going to either proactively generate me cards, or just dismantle his board and take cards away from him. With that said though, we have our 2 Breakers, our Cyber Dragon, our Nikoichi, 1 Exiled Force, 1 Gravekeeper Guard, and 3 Spy back in the main deck. I just want to have as much advantage generation as possible. These cards are great for walling up. They're very difficult for Gage to deal with, so I want to play as many copies of this as I can. 1 Kaiku. Kaiku's still in the main. He's a great is actually determined to Emperor and can just chip away at his graveyard to ensure he doesn't have the pieces to get there. We still have 1 Magical Merchant, 1 Magician of Faith, 1 Mobius. I don't know about this one. I might regret this, but if he's on the Dark World, I might just auto-lose if this card resolves. However, he wasn't on it last episode, and I think because he actually saw success, he may not want to go with it this episode. So the thing is, Morphing Jar is just an absurd card. If I open Jar and like any combination of like 4 spells and traps, I can just go +5, and he just maybe goes +1 at the most. It's just a huge swing in tempo. Yeah, it gets him closer to Emperor, but I should just be swimming in cards that it shouldn't be a problem. We'll have to see if I regret this decision. Then we have 1 Mystic Swords in level 2 to deal with his copies of Gravekeeper Spy, Gravekeeper Guard, any of the flip effect monsters. Swordsman can just easily clean them up. 2 Snipe Hunter. I only have 2 copies, which is kind of annoying, but it's just a really good piece of removal, and it's on a 1500 body to boot. I'm also playing the 1 Zaborg this time around. Zaborg's a really great card in tandem with these copies of Spy. It gives me some great tribute fodder. It allows me to pop the set monsters that he has like Spy so that they don't trigger. I wasn't playing this in the last episode. I probably should have been, but the thing is we're playing it now, so we get to see that power for ourselves. For the spells, 2 Book of Moon, Gage is actually back on Jinzo, and Jinzo is probably the reason why we lost the last set. So Book of Moon is back in the main deck to kind of counteract Jinzo, just to ensure that we have a card that at least proactively do something to stop it to a degree, so our traps can get back online and we can possibly deal with it. We're also playing much larger monsters than we were in the past, and one of the issues with Book of Moon previously is I was playing a bunch of monsters that had just easily attack stats, so now that we have like Breaker, Cyber Dragon, Kaiku, these larger threats, Book of Moon's good because my monsters will actually be able to get over it. Jinzo's only 1500 defense, so I actually have a good combination of cards that can help deal with it. Dark Hole, Dimensional Fissure. I'm still on the Dimensional Fissure and the Macrocosmos because I have really zero interaction with cards in my graveyard aside from, like, Magician of Faith. So the thing is, if I can just have these up the whole game while we're just playing back and forth and he's not getting the graveyard closer to Emperor, I think that's perfectly fine. These cards are kind of do-nothing cards, and they're really bad in the face of something like Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, but they're good enough that I think they make the cut, and we'll see how that goes. Heavy Storm, 1 My Body as a Shield, Pot of Greed, Regeki, 2 Smashing Ground, and Snatch Steal. I cut My Body back because we're not playing Protective Vanisher anymore. I felt like we don't need as many, but this is still nice to stop a bottomless, a Dark Hold, some sort of disruption that you can have. For the trap cards, 2 bottomless, 2 compulsive, Imperial Order, Battle, 3 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, Torrential Tribute, and Trap Dushin. So plenty of ways to deal with Emperor, and I'm feeling pretty good about that. For the side deck, 3 Banisher, 2 Chaos Sorcerer, 1 Night Assailant, 2 1 Magical Hat. If Gage is not on Dark World, these are 100% coming back in the main deck, and the Kingslayer will start dismantling Gage's hand. Spell cards, 2 Brain Control, the second My Body is a Shield, and for traps, 2 Mind Crush and 2 Sakuretsu Armor. These are all just to make minor adjustments as I see fit, depending on the matchup. If he's going back with the Dark World route, I'll probably put the Banishers back in, and if we see the need to play Brain Control just to get super aggressive, we might throw that in as well. But I'm feeling pretty good about this. I feel like I have a strategy no matter which route Gage decides to go with, and I'm really curious to see if Morphing Jar is the right call, but let's not make you guys wait any longer. It is time to duel. Gage, congratulations on your win in the last episode. I think it was definitely deserved, although I did have 4 billion trap cards in the face.
Yeah, why not?
So, but you know what? That's Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes, so you definitely are.
Let me tell you, Alex, every win I get is totally deserved. Because I'm the greatest the game has ever seen. What?
I don't know if I'd agree with that necessarily, but...
Maybe my record doesn't. But...
Speaking of the greatest the game's ever seen, though, we do have to shout out our patron, and looks like we have a relative to Mr. Joey Wheeler here, because Tim Wheeler is our patron we are shouting out for this episode, so maybe some of that Brooklyn rage is gonna channel you to victory in this Strike of Neos episode.
I can't, I just remembered I can't use Skull Guardian's Omni Negate anymore. I'm a fucking idiot.
Alright, we're rolling that die.
This happened last time too.
Oh, the die is working every time now.
See, Alex, brain to brain, I can't beat on RPS, but when it comes to a dice that you're just factoring in, it beats me every time.
You gotta be smarter than the die Gage, but I'm gonna go second. I think we've decided that that's still conclusively the best way to go about this.
I still think it's the
good
best.
luck.
Good luck, dude. Alright, well, not right up to that. At least I get full knowledge of what you've got as I'm playing Conversation.
See, that's one of the reasons I don't like you going first, but when you look at my hand, you're not going to be happy with what you're about to see.
Alright, let's take a look. Oh my god!
It's good, but it's also not good at the same time, you know? Like, the Dark Hole Regeki is really good, but then the other 3 cards are kind of like, eh.
They're like, man, yeah, at least you don't have any monster cards, but I have to. I have to discard them.
I figured you were going to do that.
Alright. Let's see here. You don't have any monsters, huh? I'll set this monster. I will set the spell ground. I'll just have my turn. Go ahead, dude.
This is where I top deck the Pot of Greed to just completely throw you off. I'm gonna go ahead and
that
set
kinda sucks.
3 cards face down. And I'm just gonna pass.
That is a lot. I'll draw. Alright, cool. I'll just flip up my witch. Okay. Now I'll normal summon Grandmaster Sicilian. I'll go back.
Try to go through 29. I'll let you take off. Alright, let's take it off.
I will just set the card.
I will draw. And that's good. We're gonna go ahead and special summon ourselves a Cyber Dragon off the top.
That is...
Is that fine?
Unfortunately, that is okay. That's good.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and head over to Battle Phase, see if we can get into this Sasuke.
Yeah, Sasuke's fine.
Okay. I will go to main 2. I will set a 4th card in the Emperor column, and I will pass it.
I'll draw.
This is where you blow me out with that feather duster that you put in TPA.
No, I wish, bro. Holy crap. That'd be disgusting. That Cyber Dragon is such a problem.
It's so good, isn't it?
I'll just set 2. But I have the 0 cards. Oh wait, let me put that witch in defense. There you go.
I'll allow it.
Sorry.
Another set, huh? Interesting. Let's go to battle. I'm gonna attack over this set monster.
Okay, it's Gravekeeper Spy. So,
Okay, so you will get another spy from this. Kind of okay with that. It doesn't really change the equation.
What are they doing?
I'm gonna set a 5th card face down in my main phase 2 and pass the turn.
Dear God, Alex, you got everything, bro. I'll drop the turn. That's a. I'll play Smashing Turn. You gonna flip that my body?
No, I'm just gonna flip this order.
Okay, thank you. All right, this is gonna feel so good because I expect you. I'm gonna play Dust Tornado, and I'm gonna hit your board.
That changes things significantly. In response
What were they doing?
to that, I'm going to chain Book of Moon and target my Cyber Dragon.
Okay, thank you.
Are we gonna have a big chain war here?
I'm pretty sure that was an AI.
Yeah, a lot going on here. That'll resolve.
Okay, so chain resolves backwards. Book of Moon will set my Cyber Dragon. Dust Tornado will destroy Imperial Order, and Smashing Ground will resolve, but it doesn't have a target because there's currently no face-up monster in Layfield.
Yeah, so the knowledge that it has 1600 defense because Cyber Dragon is on. I will just pass turn. Go ahead, dude.
As if it couldn't get any better, right?
Yep.
I will draw. Okay.
Alright.
This Cyber Dragon.
Let's
back
see how
up.
well I can
I'm
do
also
in
gonna use
going
Carl.
second.
You're really oh!
Yeah, you need to let me
Macro
finish.
Cosmo. Oh, okay.
Did you think that was macro? Why would I play macro? Out of the bottom trap of my bread.
Well, this is where the My Body's a Shield will come in.
Give me Maxi.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Pop.
I'm gonna go ahead and flip up Macro, though, however, now. That was what I was getting at.
Yeah, that's
because
what
now
you
we're
were-
gonna take out this Witch of the Black Forest here.
Now I'm gonna think. That would really suck if I lose that. Yeah, unfortunately. Dude, that sucks. That's gonna be. I'm gonna lose the witch.
That does suck. I'm gonna go to main phase 2, and you know what? I'm just gonna put the pressure on. I'm gonna Smashing Ground that Gravekeeper Spy and get that out of here, too.
Oh no! Oh shit! Yeah, that's fine. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I don't want any sort of tribute summoning shenanigans coming down here. So we're not gonna leave you with any monsters.
I'll draw. I'm just gonna pass. Go ahead.
What a war that we just had with all that.
Oh, that's
I'm gonna normal summon Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer and keep the pressure on. Let's try to get him to 18.
I'm gonna take the full. What is this? 39.
39. Kaiku is going to trigger. We're gonna get that Spy and that Sasuke out of the graveyard. No Emperor anytime soon. Go ahead, buddy.
I'll draw. That's a really good draw. I'll start my turn by activating them.
Yeah, that's good. Not much we can do there.
Man, it's just
That's a lot of tuners.
Yep.
Alex, you thought that was pretty good, but wait till you see this. I'm gonna play product.
Oh my god. Was that off the top? That had to be off the top.
That one. Yeah, that one. Alright, unfortunately,
Wow.
don't have any following them. I'll just set pass.
This pot of green is banished, sir, as well as
Oh, Jesus.
Excuse me.
Get that out of here.
Yeah, let me-
Get that out.
Let me
We're
loop
not
it with
dealing
the
with
zero
that.
magician of the main side.
You could still be on that D-Mock. I don't know.
I'll drop a turn. I will set. I'll pass turn.
I will draw. I'm gonna flip this Gravekeeper Guard and bounce your monster.
That's fine. I'll the card back.
Battle phase.
Oh! 1,000? Jeez, that's fine.
I will pass. Go ahead.
I'll
Uh,
draw.
they're planning on getting 2 of them.
Change. It's interesting. I'm gonna normal summon Sniper.
That's annoying.
But is it okay?
I don't know. I'm going to activate Ink Blast.
Okay, discard, banish the card for boss.
I'm going to banish a redundant Wing Blast target sniper.
That's fine. I'll stack this. Do I want to? Yeah, I have to. Alright, I'll stack this one. That's fine.
Okay.
Well, let's draw the cut. Go ahead, dude.
It's really kind of
That's the boss monster.
Oh, I don't like
That do it?
that. Come on. Empty deck.
Normal summon Snipe Hunter?
Yep.
Okay, so now I have a weird decision to make here. I could just try and go for game. I could also attempt to use Snipe to pop something. Because if you have something to, like, deal with this, it's kind of bad. Let's go battle phase. Let's see you have it.
That's fine, I'll take it.
And attempt to go for game.
I'm gonna have to ult.
Ooh. Okay. Desperation. I'm kind of glad that I attacked in that specific. Although, I mean, you could have compulsed that one, so.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see guard back. Okay, so you're drawing a Snipe Hunter turn. I know that. Snipe Hunter can just kind of dismantle my board a little bit here. I don't think you're killing, because you don't have any graves set up. Yeah, there's no way you can set up super sheer. I think we just pass. Go ahead.
Okay, I'll draw.
Lost the Snipe Hunter.
I guess I'll have to normal summon the Snipe Hunter.
That's
And
fine.
I will attack the Snipe Hunter. Target your Snipe Hunter.
Miss, 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 miss!
Alright, there we
Yeah.
go, yeah! Woo! Okay. Battle phase 15.
No response, that goes through.
Okay. Ready up guard. I'll just, I'll hop the master.
Let's draw. Oh,
It's
is that the end of the game?
Might be.
Heavy Storm?
Yeah, that's fine.
To my body. Oh, well, actually, that just won me the game, because you knew the last card in my hand.
I forgot! I have an out for it, though. That's someone's person I forgot! Wow. Yeah. Alright, yeah, good.
Yep, Darkhole's gonna take out the Snipe Hunter guard. It's gonna come in. That was close, though. That was very close.
Ouch, dude, man. That was a close game, dude. That was like right down to the wire. I can't believe I forgot you had that Darkhold, dude. Even got
to be fair, I don't know how much it really mattered. I don't know what else is in your hand, but yeah, it was really close. I mean, that's how these games are. These games are just getting so close now. I think our last few sets have just always gone to game 3, and
yeah,
those little differences can be the difference between win or losing. So let's see one of those decisions play out right now. You gonna opt for me to go first? Looks like it.
Always, you know, gotta get that extra. Good luck, of course.
All right, good luck to you as well. I will start off with a set, and I'm going to make things a little bit difficult for you right off the bat. I'm going to activate DeFi, and I will set a card face down. Go ahead.
I'll draw. Right, we'll kick it off strong. I'll summon DD3. Start off.
That's fine.
Alright, I'll go battle. Let's use DD3.
It can. It is a Dekoichi. Would you like to banish?
No, you can have the card, which is going to get banished regardless, but...
I will draw a card, and Dekoichi will get banished.
Cool. I'll go main phase 2. I will set to 2. I'll end my...
Alright, I will draw. Let's kick things off with a nice Smashing Ground.
Yeah, Smashing Ground is cool. Warrior Lady.
It will, and we're gonna follow that up. The Kingslayer himself making his grand return.
No, you brought it back!
I did bring him back. I don't feel like you're on these Dark Worlds, and if you are, you know, you just outplayed me 100%. So let's see if you got anything to stop this. Otherwise, the Kingslayer is gonna be back to slaying.
All right, well, I do have something to stop it. I am gonna flip up.
Okay.
I'll pitch a smash. I'll stack.
You know, I'm kind of like perfectly okay with that. I feel if you were wasting 2 cards on this white magical hat, that is fine. I will put this to the top of my deck. Alright, we'll go to main phase 2. We'll just set ourselves a card and pass the turn.
Cool. I will draw.
It's like white magical hat did its job anyway. You just got to pick which card you got.
Yeah. I'll normal summon 1. I always say 1. He's 1.
I'm going to torrential this.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so Wanderer will get here.
Sir.
I'll just pass. Go ahead.
Well, you already know where this turn's going.
Yep.
And we get in.
Unfortunately, you're not gonna do that. I get 2 for 1 again.
Wow!
Yeah.
White magical hat! 4 for 1!
Yeah, unfortunately I got a 4 for 1 this team. I don't know if I can
Does someone have the Chaos Emperor in their hand?
Yeah, I do actually. And I'm gonna... This is wild. I'm gonna have to pop that white magical.
Wow.
You don't have mine on. I swear, you got the mine on. So gross.
I don't think I would have even hesitated to flip it up, in all honesty. I do have a decision. I mean, you technically got Emperor out of your hand. What am I really scared of at that point? Yeah, I'll let him go, so you have banished the white one.
Alright, cool.
And I'll pass the turn.
I'll draw.
We have become down to a very simplified game stage.
Yes, very simplified. I'll just set, and I will pass.
Okay, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! As Kazuki Takahashi intended. That is potentially a very good draw. I'm gonna go ahead and set. I will pass the turn.
Interesting. I'll draw.
And I gotta say, I feel like it's been a while since our old rivalry of White Magical Hat and Emperor have both been on the field.
Yeah, it's been a hot season too. I mean, White Magical Hat still did his job of dragon slaying, pitching it out of my hand.
Just did it, you know, forthcomingly.
Yeah. This is such a rough spot. I like don't know what to do.
I agree with you. Kind of in the same boat. You wouldn't think with this few amount of cards on the field that we would have choice paralysis, but it's actually very difficult.
Yeah, it's not. Alright, here's what I'm gonna flip up the Brady.
I can't tell Rob is them. Kinda sucks.
That is fun.
I'm gonna go battle phase and I'm just gonna...
That is the first damage of the game. Incredible.
Yeah, I'm gonna go main phase 2. Nothing feels
Alright, plenty of ammo. I
You're
could
struggling
probably
over
just
there.
lose
You're
here.
Struggling.
Nothing feels like incredible. It's like great. And I don't even think that one. But I'm just gonna pass, go ahead.
Oh, now I wasn't expecting that. Okay. Yeah, I really wasn't expecting to pass. Okay, well, I guess I have to deal with this as cleanly as I can. Snipe Hunter is going to take out Guard.
Yeah,
I don't feel too good about throwing Snipe Hunter out like that, but I'm gonna have to do something. Get those darks out of there.
this feels like the way I'm gonna get rolling if I can. I'm gonna summon my own Snipe Hunter.
Was that a pun? Really?
Well, hey, not gonna do it. Man, I just got the brace, dude.
Damn, there's so many floating effects to deal with.
I'm going to book a remove on summon.
Yeah. Alright, bro, go ahead.
That feels good. Okay, that doesn't exactly. Something boost. Kind of want to put you on a clock here, but I also don't want to like give up my precious cards that Snipe Hunter could just use to completely wreck you to some degree. I'm just going to attack.
That's fine. Oh, you already moved.
And
A level
main
10
two.
synchro.
I'm gonna go ahead and set, and I think I will just pass the turn. Go ahead.
Alright, I'll draw. Cool. I'll normal summon Sasuke.
That's a big one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get over your Snipe Hunter.
I will take 300.
I'll just pass. Go ahead.
Okay, I will draw. Oh yes. I'm gonna flip up the
Oh, come on, yeah.
My Snipe Hunter is banished, but I'm gonna take the smashing ground out of that fight.
Yeah, ground's fine.
We're going to smash away the Sasuke and engage.
You don't have suit. Oh, screw you, Dalton. Alright, what are you pitching?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3 on the left, 4, 5, 6 on the right. We're gonna hit this one.
And I'll hold on to that.
Ooh, nice. With Dimensional Fissure up, it's kind of whatever.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Main phase 2, I will go ahead and set this card face down. Go ahead.
I'll draw.
Running low on cards over there.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I'll summon Tsukio. I'll flip them.
That is.
Well, there's 2 of them now.
Battle phase. Let's
But
go.
both of them are hard once per turn, so I have no idea what doing that
Alright, well,
achieves.
better have the suit. So we then my turn. Okay.
In maybe? Ooh.
Alright, this is actually kinda scary.
Changes Faith to defense.
That's useless.
I'm gonna set a card face down, then I'm gonna pass it. Now, you can summon your Tsukiyomi if you want, but you're gonna have to flip my Magician of Faith face down if you want to do that.
Or I can flip out my own Tsukio too, you know, but... Alright, I'll set it. I like to. Well, you put
I would have much preferred the first option, but
Yeah, I'm
it's
sure
okay.
you would have.
I also like this option though. I'm gonna normal summon Mystic Swords in level 2. I'm gonna swing into this set monster.
Do flip effects trigger?
They do not.
No. Why'd you do that? You got rid of
We
my...
can't make it easy for you.
No, you got rid of my...
Ooh, okay. Trying to buff me out a little bit there. I'll just pass. Go ahead.
I'll draw. Alright, let's go for number 2. I'm gonna sit down that swordsman.
That's fine.
Battle phase, get over it.
That is fine.
Alright, Chargol's dead.
Something good here, please.
Was that good?
It's not bad. It's just not good in this particular instance. I'm gonna just put you in the same position as last time and just force you to flip my moth face down.
Alright, well let's see if you got it a second time. I'm gonna summon Snipe Hunter.
That's fine.
That's fine.
That's fine. It's fine. Isn't that always the best?
Yeah, alright, let's get a graveyard card. Let's go. I'm gonna activate the Snipe Hunter. Hunter, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna discard Exile.
Now remember, yeah, it's gonna get banished. Okay, you're gonna go for D5?
Go for the
Let's see if you get it.
Yes!
Oh.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so on the resolution of DeFi, I'm gonna flip Macrocosmos.
2 steps forward, 1 step back.
I think that's the wrong saying, but okay.
Oh, whatever. Opposite way.
For you, yeah, it's definitely the opposite.
Man, come on. Why'd you...
You can just pop the Macrocosmos too. It's a 66% chance to hit.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for that too. Pop it back, okay? So,
Wow.
I'll discard the smash.
Targeting Macro, that's fine.
Alright, ready? It's gonna miss.
Please miss.
Yeah.
That-
Alright, that feels good. Okay. Is that alright? We still good?
We're good.
Battle phase, let's get over this off, finally.
Sure.
Alright, it goes to grave. Wow, first time something has gone to grave. But
I know, right?
Your turn.
Give me a good draw. That is a good draw. Kaiku!
Oh! No! No,
No
Kaiju!
graveyard for you, Gage!
Okay, are you gonna banish the Snipe Hunter?
Of course I'm gonna banish the Snipe Hunter.
Yeah, and then you've got no other cards.
No other monsters, yeah, it only banishes monsters. Unfortunately, that would be broken, but I will just pass the turn. Go ahead.
I will draw. Alright. It's back.
Okay, so I knew you had this. This was the only card left in your hand. Tsukiyomi's such a good card.
It is. Like the fact it keeps retreating. It's so good.
Yeah, because it's like built-in protection. I might regret this. I'm going to Wing Blast your Tsukiyomi in response.
Alright. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so
Okay.
Suki goes pop. I'm just gonna pass. Go ahead.
I know you're drawing Soup next turn, so let's just go ahead and flip up this Kaiku. Hit it for 18. And main 2, I will just set this card as well. Go ahead.
Cool. I'll draw. Weird. Like, alright, cool. I'll soup Haiku and get in there.
Kaiku set. Kaiku has been removed.
Awesome. Go ahead. Your turn.
Okay. Gage. You're not about to like the direction this game's gonna take.
Slide what you got.
I'm gonna set a card face down.
Ah, there it is.
Let's...
Put it back in there! Oh, and the thing is, I thought about playing this too! No way! Oh.
Draw 5, my man. Draw 5.
Alright, this is gonna be a good game.
Wow, that was like the worst 5 cards I could have possibly drawn. I was hoping to just like win immediately after this, and that was just horrible. Get in for 700.
Not quite that easy, huh?
Unfortunately, like, it's not bad, but it's, let's say it's less than desirable. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna set 1, 2, 3. And I'm gonna pass the turn.
Mikonkos are a really cool
gonna
archetype, actually.
Alright, that's fine.
Okay.
That's a pretty good grip, huh?
Pot of Greed, too, and you have your Cold Pink. That's a lot of good cards. You're gonna Pot of Greed into 2 more, which is even more annoying. I'm going to shuffle back the Spy.
Spy? Sure.
It's
Yeah.
expensive
Spy
as
runs the
usual,
pot.
though.
Leave it deep in your order.
I wish I was that good at this game,
Alright,
but unfortunately that's gonna resolve.
I'll draw it.
That would have been amazing.
That would...
With the hand that you just had, Order would have just won me the game.
Yes, correct. Alright, let's see here. I'll set that. You know what I'm actually scared of, Alex?
What?
I'm scared of your second Book of Moon and what you might do with that jar.
Why, Gage?
That's like kind of scary.
We're not playing like Empty Jar or anything.
I need to do one more Link Summon
Could you
for my
imagine
dailies.
empty jar?
Let's actually just flub up a game
I will draw. I'm going to fire off Regeki.
Okay.
and spam out a Link Karibo as fast as possible.
That's fine.
Assuming it was Spirit Reaper. Well, you know, Gage, I do like...
Well, I'm not gonna go first, so I guess there goes that plan.
And I'm gonna think for a sec. Because I'm gonna be very sad here if this works out.
I know you have a Wing Blast, and if there's a card...
Wait, what? Oh no, it's a hard going second deck.
Jar doesn't...
They definitely have 3 copies of Max C and all that other good shit.
Oh! Actually, wait, no. No, I don't want to... Oh, I'm so scared, bro. I don't know what to do, man! I got through your 1 DeFi, your 1 macro. Alright, you know what?
42
Yeah,
cards.
Okay. I will go ahead and set a card face down, and we're gonna flip up the jar.
Alright. I'll chain Wing Blast.
Okay.
It doesn't matter what I pitch. I'll pitch the board.
Sure.
I will stack the one you just set.
Okay. Goes to the top.
Okay. And then resolve jar.
We both draw 5.
Just let me complete my dailies, man.
Okay.
Oh my god.
You still have
Are they playing with mobile data in school or something right now?
A card that I don't know, because I believe I've seen everything, because you drew to 6, I shuffled one back so you had 5. Reaper, Pot, Smashing, Cold Wave were the others, and Wing Blast. So I'm fairly certain I don't know what your other card is. Let's go ahead and normal summon a good old Snipe Hunter.
Yeah, Snipe Hunter's cool.
Snipe Hunter's pretty good after a Morphing Jar, don't you think?
Nah, you know, let's try to get 4 monsters on the field and summon Apulosa.
Pitch this Magical Merchant for cost. I'm gonna randomly choose which one
I'll
here.
take the
Alright,
free win,
so I'm gonna
but...
target this back row.
That's gonna
Okay.
resolve, that's fine.
Okay, but I want to go again. Is the question. It's the worst thing in the world. What am I afraid of? What have you used up so far? 2 Wing Blasts or a Geki Break. I think you have Dust Tornado in the deck still. Alright, I'm gonna go to Battle. Okay, 700.
Yep, I'm gonna take all of it. So, 15 and 7.
Okay, life's getting pretty low. Feeling pretty good about that. I'm gonna go ahead and set a card, and I will pass it.
Okay. I'll go.
Full grip gauge, full grip.
Full grip, Alex. I'll activate.
Rhoda's fine.
I have no target. This game has been going on a hot minute, too.
Are they all in the Banish? Sasuke, DD Warrior? Oh my god, I think they are. Exile Force 2, wow, that was everything.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
Don't have any more books. Probably got another
Do
book
you
left.
know any of these cards? I don't know if you do.
I don't know any of them. Like,
What is this
I
deck?
don't know that you have, but I know what you have in your deck generally. I think you have like 2 more Wing Blast. I don't know if you're back on Regeki. Might have Saku. Or just
Yeah, so there's some things you can rule out.
Bottomless. Bottomless. Fucking bad.
There's a lot of things that you have to worry about. They also could all be spells, in all fairness. I did Jar twice, so...
Ooh. Okay. Alright. Play here. Alright, I'm gonna summon Snipe.
Leading with the Snipe Hunter. I feel like I have to do something, so I'm gonna bottom this.
Okay. I'm gonna chain enemy controller. Ooh. Tribute my Sniper.
Respect. Okay. I'm going to chain Compulse, targeting my Snipe.
IP mask.
Oh, man. Alex, man, that was a hell of a... Yeah, you checked me. Got me.
Wow,
Good
Morphing
game.
Jar did its job! Oh my god!
That's insane. What a fucking game. I had Dust back there. You had the correct call that I saw.
Okay.
So if you would have activated, I would have just... What are the rest?
Okay, I want you to take a guess. Like, you think you know my deck so well.
I think
So-
you've got one more
Whoa.
Wing Blast set back
The
there.
one you are actually targeting is the Wing
Yeah.
Blast, funny
Yeah,
enough.
okay. I think you have, you don't have any more books. There wasn't anything playable in the news, so you could have another... Do you have another Wing Blast back there?
I don't. So the last 2 cards, one you're never gonna guess. I did have a buy body, so I had a little bit of insurance from Snipe Hunter. Even if, like, you would have taken mine, I could have, like, potentially just used that. And then Dark Hole was the other one. And you never would have guessed that one.
Yeah, no, I didn't see a chance in if you had that. That was so hard. Because, like, the thing is, I had... Here, I'll show you. So I had, like, witches and grave.
Ooh.
I was trying to dig for seed with
Of
the
course,
jar.
of course.
So, like, the jar, like... And there were so many different points in this game that I felt like I could have played differently. The first time you resolved the jar, I had the Dark Hole in it. But I knew I had
Here it comes. What are we gonna see?
So I was like...
A light charmer?
Dark Hole now, and I'll just wait till you commit.
Sure.
And then you happen to have jar.
It's very possible.
So that, and then like towards the second time where we're gonna resolve the jar,
An SP Little Knight, alright.
the way to like Wing Blast and stuff. But the thing was, I was like, if I pitch a light with the Zabor, I have a way to draw seed. I'd have a way to resolve it with Cold Wing. So I was like trying to out every single time.
Yeah. So when I first resolved Jar, I literally drew 5 spells or traps.
really
I drew like Compulse, and this might be wrong, but
This
I
is
drew like
a
Compulse.
prime opportunity to negate the summon.
Yankee Book of Moon or something like that. And so I was just like, I wanted one monster, and I played 18 of them, so the odds of me seeing one were pretty good. I'm like, give me one monster so I can hit in for some damage, and I drew 5 spells and traps, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? And luckily, I did have the Book of Moon to reflip Jar again. Here's the thing though, so like, even if you stacked Jar, did you have a way to prevent it from going off again?
The next turn?
Right.
I don't think so. I don't think I had a way to stop.
So that's the thing, so it's like, yeah, you would delay it by a turn, but it's still gonna get flipped one way or another, so I don't know if that was necessarily wrong of you to do that, because I kind of see your logic with the Cold Wave plus Saborg logic. Like, if you drew Emperor, which, in all fairness, I had like 3 ways to deal with, but had I not had the ways to, or, I mean, Cold Wave makes it irrelevant, so it doesn't matter.
If you didn't have the Snipe Hunter, which you already, did you go through one early in the game?
I did, I think.
Yeah, you went through
is it
your
banished?
other one.
Yeah.
But you went through your other one, you know you only have 2 children. So I was like, you had to have the second Snipe Hunter. You had to have a way to out that, and then like, I wouldn't stand a chance. But you did have, you had the Snipe Hunter. So,
Yeah, it
man,
was,
that was so close. That was a really good match.
That was, I mean, I can't believe that was just game 2. I thought we were in game 3. So, like, had you been able to turn that around, which Morphing Jar is a card that grants you the ability to do
I
that.
just realized I might be playing into an infinite imperm column here.
We could have headed to a game 3, but that game 2 took an eternity. I also had Snatch, Steal, and Breaker in hand. So
Oh, that's gross.
I was feeling pretty good about this one, but Cold Wave was gone, so, like, I didn't have to worry about that. But Emperor is just one of those cards. If I didn't have a way to deal with it, or you, like, baited my other cards, I wouldn't have used this Compulse and Bottomless had I not had a way to stop Emperor, because I knew you had a Light and a Dark already Grave with Subordinate Spirit Reaper. And that's also why I preemptively fired off, like,
Let's just
Rejection
negate that.
too, just because, like, I knew I was going to flip Jar. I just had to get whatever value I could out of my cards, just so I can refresh my hand and get it. I also had Dark Hole, I think I already said that, so I'm like, I got one more, like, whatever.
Man,
But
I mean, it's such an uphill battle when I gotta fight through like 5 macro. In fact, you opened it up. Did you open it up?
I opened the DeFi, and then I drew the back row when we were at that standstill where we each only had like 2 or 3 cards, and I was just trying to get like one monster to stick to the board, and I drew macro, and I kept it in my hand for a turn because I'm thinking, okay, if I draw a Wing Blast or a Snipe Hunter, I'd rather use the macro to pitch for that rather than just
cards on hand, though.
You destroyed it anyway,
They've
but
got plenty of
so
ammo.
once I did get to a monster, I got to something. I don't remember. I'm just like, I'll set it, whatever. Maybe it'll be relevant. But to be
My
fair,
victory
it's not
is yet
like a lot of
assured.
Look how many cards
Oh my
DeFi
God, yeah.
banished.
I think one of the turning points was I had to discard that seed. That did not feel good. Like, I was trying so hard. I had that Snipe Hunter for, and I was trying to find, like, an opportune time to be able to, like, have enough monsters in hand so I could not discard them all off the DeFi, but get rid of your DeFi and still have a way to fuel seed. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't get enough light to be able to get that seed in hand. So I had to pitch it, and that did not feel good, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, DeFi and macro, especially with how they play with your Snipe Hunter specifically, is actually even better for me, because that means if you even want to attempt to pop either one, you're going to get one card banished, most likely. That's just, again, another way to stop.
No, it's not a kaiju.
I actually cut the
What the
banish.
fuck was that?
All I'm playing is DeFi and macro for the banishing cards, because I noticed in the last episode you were playing a much more just like cohesive kind of cookie cutter sort of like old school deck. Dropped all the Dark World stuff.
Witch of
and
the Black
that was kind of the reason
Forest?
I felt like I lost,
Yo.
but did so obviously. But Vanisher and Dimensional
To a Link
Both
summon.
of those cards are like fine, but like they don't actually do anything. You know what I mean? They're not like Snipe Hunter, they're not Morphing Jar, they don't like progress your game state. They slow you down, but they don't help me do much. And so I was thinking, there's the new Dark World support in this set. Is he actually going to go back and play? And I was thinking, I don't feel like he is, because even though those cards are not bad, we saw a good amount of success in the last episode playing without the Dark Worlds, and so I figured you weren't.
I see where this is
And that's
going.
why I also chose to main deck the Morphing Jar. And when I drew in that game, my heart was pounding because I'm like, please don't have Dark Worlds, please don't have Dark Worlds.
Actually,
please don't
yeah.
have Dark Worlds.
Do you want to hear something funny? So I tried to, like, I was going to throw you for a loop if I wanted to. So I was getting, like, I was trying to take notes of what you were doing, and I noticed, like, you weren't playing the TV Survivors or anymore. I actually buffed up, I played the second guard, because I thought you still would. I actually sided.
Celine.
Is the entire Dark I was
God.
gonna smoke screen into the Dark World. And now that I know you play Jar, that would have been crazy. I pulled one Dark World team. So I was like, man,
did you? Nice.
Yeah, just one.
I do believe this guy's setting up for an OTK. I can't do anything against anymore.
Top guard, I just side them all in. But if you were still in the back of the spy strategies, it wasn't gonna work.
So it's gonna banish low.
Survivors, you're just playing those two cards because they're fit against my strategy.
And yeah, that's lethal.
Back in, you know? Maybe I'm like,
well, just as you have your side deck plan, I have mine.
Or just sent to the graveyard.
I also have my entire macro plan in my side deck.
wow!
I figured if you're still on the Dark Worlds, I need to make sure I have the swap out because I just have to shut that shit down. I cannot allow that to go through, and Banisher of the Radiance is still a pretty decent card, and I feel like, hey, you know, we might as well have a good side deck plan for if he is still on it. So it looks like we were both prepared for what the other one was doing if we had both side decked. That's what's really interesting moving forward. Now that we both know that we have this strategy for the other person's archetype, technically, how is that going to work in, like, the next episode? Like, next episode is, what, Force of the Breaker, I think? And again, maybe we're not going to get many... Force of the Breaker was released in May 2007. This set introduced the Volcanic archetype, a pyro-based archetype focused on slowly burning the opponent while destroying their threats, but more notably, the Crystal Beasts, an archetype of monsters that become continuous spells when destroyed, helping generate advantage and set up for massive swarming potential. Notable cards in this set
it's a going
Crystal
second.
Beast, Sapphire Pegasus, Gravekeeper's Commandant, Prometheus, King of the Shadows, Eradicator Epidemic Fires, and a card that would quickly assume the throne in most competitive decks, Ryza the Storm Monarch. In this series, both Nimnim and myself will be opening 24 booster packs or one box of a core Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set. We will build a deck and play a best 2 out of 3, and the winner will receive a small prize to upgrade their deck. However, in each episode, we will open another box of the next set that was released, moving in chronological order, constantly upgrading our decks before dueling each other at the end of each episode.
What could they be playing?
This is the Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression Series. Did you really think we were gonna let Gage win 2 in a row? That absolutely cannot happen. Here we are once again in the winner's circle, feeling pretty good. We actually have a shot at some Dark Revelation 3 packs here instead of the tournament packs if we happen to spin it on the wheel. I think that's okay.
A fucking
Dark
idiot.
Revelation 3 is nearly as powerful as, like, let's say Dark Beginning 1. I believe it sets like Soul of the Duelist, Rise of Destiny, but let's just go ahead and spin the wheel and see what we get here. Maybe we'll get something good, maybe not, but it's all in the wheel's hands. And ooh, Wild Card Ultra. That might be the first time either one of us has spun that on the wheel, but I don't think it's
I think what I should have gotten was low.
The ultra rares were out of the last set. So here's the weird thing about sets during this time. A lot of the top and high rarity cards were actually not that good. And what I mean by that is they were very specific and niche to a particular deck. Look at the ultra rare selection we have here. We have Rainbow and then 3 Elemental Hero Neos Fusion monsters, which basically are unplayable. So I guess I'll just take a copy of Rainbow, although I don't think I'm going to be playing it. It would be kind of funny to, like, counter-side it against Gage if he plays some, like, weird sort of deck that requires us to, like, do stuff with his Dark Worlds if he wants to go back to the Dark World strategy. But I'm kind of sad. I could have had another shot at Grand Mole since I didn't get one in the last episode. But that's
Never
okay.
mind. Alright.
Force of the Breaker now, so let's go ahead and get
Paid for the cost, but didn't get the effect. Either way.
This time, Force of the Breaker, released May 16th.
Well, they had another way.
7. Force of the Breaker's it's an interesting set. We've got Volcanics with their official release in this set here. Volcanic Rocket popping up at the top here. Crystal Beasts also get their first wave of support. You know, the Topaz Tiger, he's pretty cool. Sapphire Pegasus, amazing ultra rare. I think we're missing the Rainbow Dragon. I don't think that gets
I am dead.
here, actually. It doesn't. But, hey, that's a pretty decent start, I guess. A couple more Volcanic cards around here. Doomfire. Shell's actually a really interesting one. It's a level 1 where once per turn we can pay 500, add a shell from our deck to our hand, but it must be in the graveyard activate. That's the good thing about it, is you activate it in the graveyard, you can pick up another shell. Pretty good for getting more hand advantage if we want to play more cards that we discard, but at this point in time, I don't think we're going to really considering it that much. Gravekeeper's Commandant, I actually thought this card was officially released. This really cool Gravekeeper's card to be able to pick up in Necro Valley. Do I even have Necro Valley?
Yeah, I can't do anything against a Naporosa.
I have like one. Not enough to build a consistent Gravekeeper strategy, but hey, Commandant is pretty sick as a rare card. All those cards are mighty fine and neat and everything, but I think the big one is actually Rise of the Storm Monarch gets released in this set. Another Monarch that, if our luck holds true, we should definitely pull a copy of this. At level 6 with 2400 attack, 1000 defense, when a Tribute Summon, target a card on the field, place it on top of the deck. Just Phoenix Wing Wind Blast on a dude. This card nuts. I love Ryza. In fact, I love Ryza so much, I picked myself up an Ultimate Rare, First Edition. This is one of Alex's favorite cards too, man. I think he's also just chasing after this guy. Hopefully we can have the same luck and pull an Ultimate Rare first digitally as well. Other than that, a whole bunch more Crystal Beast cards released to us, a couple trap cards, nothing too incredibly relevant. The secret rares are all getting clogged up with things that aren't incredible. Diabolos, the original one, Lick Lord. Prometheus is actually okay though. When it's normal summon, banish one or more darks, and it gains 400 attack for each.
Bah.
If I have Dimension Fusion, I know Alex.
Why can't I just summon
That
Linkaribo?
would be sick to play with something like Bazoo, and then load up the banish, just donk a huge Dimension Fusion. Hey, D-Mock, back in the game. You know it. Other than that, EEV is pretty sick. That's a nice secret rare, but that's going to be something a little bit more difficult to pick up. We'll see what we can pull here. 24 packs. Force of the Breaker. Let's go.
Alright guys, 24 packs of Force of the Breaker. I'm really excited because this actually has one of my favorite cards of all time in it, and it frankly might be the best card in the set, and that is Ryza the Storm Monarch. That is the card we are looking for here. I was really hoping we get it on that first pull because that would be super, super cool, but really not much to talk about here. Oh wow, there's our first ultra rare Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus. Will we be playing Crystal Beast? Probably not, although I can't say I really tried testing this at all for our series. I just don't think the deck is good enough. If anything, it's actually a way that can do a lot of special summoning potentially, but Sapphire Pegasus is one of the best cards in that deck. Maybe if we pull 3 Pegasus, I'll consider it. We also got a Topaz Tiger, which isn't the worst either, but we'll see. Right after that is a super rare, but it's not the super rare that we wanted. It is Radiant Mirror Force. I just want to show you guys how difficult it was to get just good generic cards back in the day. When an opponent's monster declares an attack while they control 3 or more attack position monsters, you get to actually Mirror Force them. That is just absurd. There's so many cards that they tried to integrate into the game during this time that were like balanced versions of some of the most powerful cards in the game, and then they just never saw play because they're just not good.
Alright, pack number 1, Force of the Breaker. I'm excited. Let's see if we can get that Ryza. Flip them up. Nothing special. Crystal Beacon. Okay. Oh my god, off the bat! The second one in! The luck holds true. Ryza the Storm Monarch.
Bruh.
These dudes, so happy I got him. He's gonna find his way into the main deck real quick, let me tell you. What a stud! There's 1 Volcanic Shell. If I can pick up 2 more, that might be something to consider later. Again, don't think I'm playing it now, but having the 3 shells an option in the bank, super helpful. Oh
I
my
probably
god,
should have just activated Ritual
Dude, that's
Sanctuary's
sick.
effect.
First secret rare of the box,
Rather than summon Cellravis.
He's pretty nice, let me tell you. When we get to Phantom Darkness, I don't know, we might have an even better Dark Turbo deck going on here. What, Teledad, anybody?
And right after that, we get a secret rare Eradicator
And no,
Epidemic
never gonna get the chance
Virus.
to.
That might be one of the best secret rares we could have gotten because a lot of the other secret rares were these dark monsters that didn't have too much playability, at least not till later, like when we get to the Phantom Darkness era, but Eradicator is very, very scary. It's situational, I will say, but this is a nice card to have on hand for the future. We'll have to see how that plays out, but I cannot complain about that pickup. Wow, and the high rarity cards just keep coming. Here's an ultimate rare Gravekeeper's Commandant. This is basically a card you just discard to add Necro Valley to your hand. I actually have a playset of these in ultimate rare in real life, and wow, are they beautiful. But that's a really cool pickup. I don't even know if I got Necro Valley out of Pharaonic Guardian. I'd have to go back and look, but pretty cool pickup. Again, don't know if it'll see play, but it's a nice card if we do need Necro Valley later on. There's another ultra rare value. This is a pretty cool card. This isn't something that like Crystal Beast decks maxed out on, at least I don't believe that they, but it's a pretty neat card, it's again kind of one of these cards that want to incentivize you to play some of the new archetypes. I will admit, like, when you look at some of the scope of what some of these archetypes received, Crystal Beast support isn't, like, the worst. There's definitely much worse off archetypes, and Rare Value is definitely one of those cards that's not bad.
Oh, and another super rare right back to back, Radiant Air Force. That one, very unimpressive. Oh my god, the holos keep coming! Dude, Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus! That's the best Crystal Beast monster there. Again, I don't have Rainbow Dragon. I don't have a reason to play these things. I don't think I'll ever get 3 Sapphire Pegasus. Dude, if I can get 2 more Sapphire Pegasus, the Crystal Beasts are coming loose. Abundance is great! Second Volcanic Shell, really nice pickup. Happy with that one. 1 more to go, I think. Only halfway through the box. Pretty sure I'll get it. Commandant and a Tri-Blaze Accelerator. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Oh, another super rare. Soul of Fire. I think I've seen this thing in bulk so many times. Opponent draws a card. I've read enough. Alright, last 2 packs in set here. We got 2 Volcanic Shells. I want to pick up 1 more, hopefully. Altogether, though, I got the Rise, and that was the big thing I was after. The Prometheus, dude. Pretty good opening. What else can we add here? 3rd Shell. Alright, great pickup. Last pack. Everything's gravy at this point. Sky Surge and Rise. I feel like this is the worst out of all of them. Remove from play 3 light, 1 dark fiend. Once per turn, remove 1 face-up monster. But yeah, I think Chaos Sword is just better. Altogether, though, you know what? I'm not even mad. That's a pretty good opening. I'm gonna save this, and we're gonna throw it in the dueling book, see what we can adjust. I don't think it's gonna be too much, but we'll see what we can do.
I saw it said super rare, and I got so excited, but unfortunately, it's Sky Scourge Normoras. Now, this card is really neat. This card has seen, like, very fringe play in some Burning Abyss decks and decks that are really just trying to cheese wins with like Phantom of Chaos and different things like that, because the effect is actually crazy. It's kind of cool that they tried to revisit Chaos, but definitely had to balance it compared to like what we've seen with like Emperor Dragon. But it's a cool card. The artwork is sick, but I don't think we're going to be playing it anytime soon, at least for now. Oh my god, we got it! We got the Ryza! Yes! Yes, yes, yes. I'm just excited because, like I said, this is one of my favorite cards ever. For people who do not know Ryza, it's a Monarch, so it has a Tribute Summon effect. If it's Tribute Summon, you target 1 card on the field, place that target on the top of the deck. As soon as this set was legal, this warped the entire Monarch strategy and made it much more viable, because Ryza is the first Monarch that can really go after any type of card, and that made it so much more flexible. If you pair this with something like Phoenix Wing Wind Blast, which they did back in the day, you could potentially stack your opponent's deck for 2 turns and just control what they're going to draw and the entire pace of the game. There's a reason why Monarch ascended to top tier status once Ryza was released, and I hope to be able to exemplify that in this episode. I'm so happy to get this. Thank you. Only a few packs left here. There hasn't really been too much else. Another super rare, actually, Sky Scourge and Seal. This card has also seen a very small amount of play, actually relatively recently at the time of recording this video, which is kind of interesting. It's interesting how the Sky Scourges have like randomly popped up in competitive play at times, and then the ultimate rare versions of these spiked up to like $100 plus. That's, you know, that's Yu-Gi-Oh for you, what can I say? But that looks like it's going to wrap up the opening. I'm excited. We got the Ryza. Where is it? Where is it? We gotta look at it. There it is. Oh, I'm so happy to see that. So let's go ahead and load this up in the book and start building.
Alright, let's talk about real quick what we decided to change today. A couple changes here. Nothing too major, really. I don't think really anything that has been added except Ryza's hit the main deck. Like I said, he went over support. I feel like since I've cut down on the Chaos count, just, you know, to Emperor Dragon, I feel like this is going to be okay. Once I've changed the voices of the deck, I'm going to try with again to use it. I feel like loading up those lights when I need to is going to be important. I replaced Creed finally with 6 Samurai Zanji. Zanji's nothing special. It's 1800, where Freed is 1700. I will never use the Freed effect, so I figured I might as well add a guy that's a little bit bigger. Weak Blast have been put to 3 in favor of the 2 Weak Blast and 1 Raigeki Break I was playing before, because I know Alex is on My Body as a shield. My Body is a shield, and Raigeki Break is worthless when I'm trying to hit a monster. I do get the plus of trying to pop spells traps with Raigeki Break, but after the knowledge I can cut down on the Banisher or the Light or whatever, I'm pretty sure I just want to be able to remove macro the DeFi. If I get to remove for a turn, that's alright, but you know, I feel like Phoenix Wing Blast is going to be a little bit better. Triple Snipe Hunter is still in the main deck card's crazy. I cut down the guard back to 1. I feel like the Spies and the guard don't work on their that's the changes with the main deck. That's about it. Nothing too fancy dancy, but I think it's in good shape. That Rising is looking pretty. The side deck has also been changed up a bit too. I had the smoke screen in the Dark Worlds. I don't think I'm ever going to do that. So I just decided to throw some generic stuff in there that might come up. The DD Crow, double Chaos Space Grand One, is just sitting proudly there. Don't think he'll hit it in there. And I just want to show him off. What a beast. Dark World dealings, double concealing, one revealing. Double Twister is something I've pulled before that pops face up spells traps. So this might come up and tries to do turbo and floodgate strategies side deck. Mind Crushes runs. This can stop the effect of a monster that on normal summons, so something like Breaker, which will trigger to get its counter. This can be destroy. It's a little bit less useful than I'd like, but it's good to be relegated to the side deck. Trap does so sit, of course. I wish this card was that. It's still probably in side. It's doing all right. Extra deck hasn't changed. I wouldn't, and I think everybody is no Alex. I'm coming for you, but I'm feeling a dub.
Oh, it's immune. I'm just gonna... that didn't count apparently. Maybe I need to see the game through and not surrender or something. That sucks. If I have to win or something, that sucks all the more. I am anti-extra deck summoning. Let's try this again. What? Oh my god, it's Egyptian god deck. Yo. Solemn wishes? Bro's playing 2005 Yu-Gi-Oh! Alright, Link summoning doesn't count as tribute summoning. They count as material.
Strong Pokemon, weak Pokemon, that is only the selfish perception of people. Truly skilled trainers should try to win with their favorites. At least that's what Johto parents says in game. This sentiment echoes throughout the casual and higher trigger. Awesome. Into grand finals. Instead, those spots were taken by two creative trainers that found the shortcomings of the Rain team. In second place, Tasuku Mano fought Weather with Weather. Tasuku's team consisted of Yanmega, Hippowdon, Rhyperior, Zapdos, Shedinja, and Moltres. The philosophy behind the team is clear. If the opponent brings any sort of weather strategy, there will be a direct answer. Rain, have fun dealing with Yanmega blasting Ludicolo, while Hippowdon and Rhyperior form a bulky sand core and win the Weather War. Shedinja could potentially invalidate entire Rain teams as well, through its Wonder Guard ability and Rain's lack of super effective coverage for it. Rhyperior also synergized well with Zapdos and Moltres to leverage the age-old Earthquake plus Flying type or Levitate user strategy. Moltres put a hard stop to Sun teams, which were a popular answer to Rain at the time, and the strategy made great use of the item switch mechanic. Although each Pokemon that Tasuku Mano brought was not considered particularly overpowered at the time, except for maybe Zapdos, they all had a favorable matchup against what most of the players at the event brought to the table. But as impressive as Tasuku's team was, it didn't win. The first place winning team belonged to Kazuyuki Tsuji, also known as Kusanagi. Kazuyuki's team was a beautiful sight. Ludicolo, Metagross, Snorlax, Salamence, and Polion, and of course, his trademark Toxicroak. The team had a healthy mix of powerful offense in the form of Metagross, Snorlax, and Salamence. Have fun guessing which of these Pokemon is holding the choice band as it explodes. The offensive core put a tremendous amount of pressure that very few teams could withstand. The genius behind this team, though, is the other three members of the team. Much like Gandalf, Toxicroak and Empoleon made sure Ludicolo and Kingdra could not pass. Toxicroak used his Dry Skin ability to become almost unkillable in Rain, while Empoleon slowed down the opponent's team with Icy Wind, while tanking any move that could be thrown at it. Kazuyuki's own Ludicolo put Rain teams in particularly uncomfortable positions, where their Rain core was doing nothing to Tsuji's team, while enabling Ludicolo's high-speed madness. Truly a classic. There's a reason Kazuyuki took the entire event. The strategy handled the top meta threats in convincing fashion, while leaving few gaps on its own pressure, thanks to the support moves like Icy Wind and Fake Out. The 2010 VGC format is typically known for being the start of Ray Rizzle's Reign of Terror, but there was so much more to it. Early VGC formats were warped around some of the unique rules they had, and 2010 was no exception. The format allowed players to bring not one or two restricted legendary Pokemon, but 4 in the party. Although players were only allowed to use 2 at a time, team building philosophy was modeled heavily around the uses of the restricted Pokemon. Just like the year before, Rain was an unstoppable force. The concept of Kyogre has been terrifying players for many years, and 2010 was a prime example of the Blue Whale's might. This year, unlike 2009, the Rain strategy actually got the gold. However, this didn't stop many players from having success with strategies that attempted to play around it. In a top 8 metagame where the top 3 team had the Kyogre Ludicolo shell, one player attempted to stop the Rain at all costs. Meet Huey Ha. With a team of Abomasnow, Mewtwo, Parasect, Dialga, Jumpluff, Groudon, Huey attempted to leverage the strength of the grass Pokemon's abilities through Parasect's Dry Skin and Jumpluff's Chlorophyll to sleep any possible restricted threat while taking the least amount of damage. Huey also brought 2 forms of weather control in the form of Groudon and Abomasnow. Abomasnow was particularly popular in the rest of the top 8 as it had a favorable matchup against both Groudon and Kyogre. The gold nugget for Huey's success was his creative use of Trick Room Mewtwo with the self-destruct TM move learned only in Pokemon XD Yellow Darkness. This allowed Huey's team to unleash crazy amounts of damage while keeping control of the weather and speed with the rest of the squad. 5th place in the world isn't too shabby. Also, Huey is a founder of Nugget Bridge, by the way. Ah yes, 2011. The release of Pokemon Black and White is certainly fitting for what the game did to competitive Pokemon. On one side, there were many new powerful and interesting Pokemon. On the other side, they were too powerful. So powerful, in fact, that teams this year looked practically identical. It's a thing that happens from time to time in the world of competitive Pokemon. The strength of one particular Pokemon can be so overpowering that not bringing them to the table means you're going home with no wins in your pocket and a sad face. Thundurus was this Pokemon. Out of the 8 teams in the top 8 for this year, 7 of them had Thundurus, but there was only one that did not. Daniel Nolan from the UK brought Behem instead. No, you didn't hear that wrong. Behem. Perhaps the use of its signature ability, Telepathy, or its potential access to Trick Room and Ally Switch was enough to combat the Thundurus army. The rest of Daniel Nolan's team was Tornadus, Jellicent, Terrakia, Krookodile, and Amoonguss. With sleep support and area of effect moves like Earthquake and Rock Slide, it's easy to see how BPM achieved great success. Also worthy of mention is Wolf Blick's success with Cofagrigus, earning a 6th place spot in the bracket. Trick Room definitely is a great equalizer for some of the less represented Pokemon. Remember how we said that sometimes Pokemon can become too strong not to use? Well, 2012 was also one of those years. The 2012 metagame was defined by the use of powerful, bulky, good stuff teams that made use of powerful moves, while being supported by the borderline unkillable Cresselia and last year's MVP, Thundurus. These strategies usually centered around weather in the form of rain with Politoed Ludicolo or sand with Tyranitar, Garchomp, and Excadrill. Another popular strategy that was mixed with these teams is the age-old classics of Dragon types plus Steel types, boasting incredible offensive power and great type resistances. There was some spice this year though. Once again, Wolfglick brought his creativity to the mix and challenged expectations with his use of Exeggutor. Wolfglick maximized the use of Exeggutor's traits with his unique approach to its moveset and ability, using Harvest and Citrus Berry to make it incredibly hard to kill, as well as the use of moves like Leaf Storm to eradicate threats, and Power Swap to use its disadvantages as a leverage point. It's clear why this piece of Pokemon history landed Wolfie a well-deserved second place, as there's a spot for innovation even in the most closed of formats. 2013 had many similarities with its equivalent from the previous year. Also, it brought a certain theory and genie to the mix. There was a tendency to utilize bulky offense coupled up with strong Pokemon. This year, however, things were different. Redirection started to take more importance in order to keep offensive Pokemon healthy. This allowed players like Sage Park and Benjamin Gold to bring particularly creative pieces that fit the puzzle. Although he's remembered for one of his later feats, Sage Park innovated in the redirection department with his use of Flame Body Eviolite Follow Me Magmar. A Pokemon that redirects moves with great defenses and a chance to burn the opponent was just the right thing for such a predominantly physical metagame. Benjamin Gold, on the other hand, brought Substitute Eviolite Rhydon as an answer to the ever-popular Thundurus and Rotom, in order to effectively enable his Trick Room strategy, centered around Jellicent, Scrafty, and Abomasnow. The first-place winner for this event, Arash Omadi, took it all with his team of Tornadus, Amoonguss, Conkeldurr, Heatran, Latios, and Mamoswine. At first glance, this team seems like the standard for the times, but bringing Mamoswine to Worlds was an incredibly sharp meta call. A Pokemon that evaporates the Genies, Latios, Heatran, Tyranitar, and Amoonguss. It hits so many Pokemon that it didn't allow other teams to play comfortably around its offense, thus enabling its strong partners in Latios, Conkeldurr, and Heatran, while being supported by defensive staples such as Amoonguss and Tornadus. Just one right call can go such a long way in the road to the World Championship. Alright, we all know why you clicked on this video. Sage Park's Pachirisu is perhaps the most famous example of how an accurate assessment of the metagame can cause even the most struggling Pokemon to have a spot in the spotlight. In the months before the 2014 World Championships, the talk was centered around which Mega Pokemon the players would bring. This was, after all, a new power creep in Pokemon history. No one could have accurately predicted how support Pokemon like Pachirisu stole every single reflector and heart in the crowd at the time, and in the future. Even though it looked flimsy and weak, it was the perfect partner for the Mega Gyarados-centric strategy that Sagen brought for the tournament. It was the only Pokemon available at the time that could redirect electric moves, or moves in general through Follow Me, that also offered paralysis support and chucked huge amounts of damage off a slower Pokemon with Super Fang, helping its teammates Gyarados, Gardevoir, Talonflame, Garchomp to rack up kills. This is a phenomenon that has been analyzed for years in the Pokemon community, and probably the most talked about example of why tiers aren't everything, and thus becoming the Pachirisu theorem. After Sage's victory, surely the Pokemon landscape changed forever, right? Everybody started playing with their favorite Pokemon, right? Well, Pachirisu wasn't Sage's favorite Pokemon until after 2014 Worlds, don't get it twisted. But anyway, teams were diverse and creative, right? Meet the 2015 VGC World Championships. This was the prime example of an over-centralized metagame. Parental Bond Mega Kangaskhan was just too much, and every team had to bring her along, as well as ways to play around her, or they got cooked. There's not too much to say about this one. The Japanese-style Chalk team proved its dominance and shut down the dreams of underdog team composition. Yes, we are aware that there's a lot of diversity and complexity within the EV spreads of each Chalk team in top 8, despite having the same mods. Much like how Ray Bristle's Thundurus in Black and White was an innovative EV spread over other Thunduruses. But the fact that the same 5 Pokemon dominated an entire top 8 for a World Champions means the unorthodox picks definitely take a loss here. 2016 World Championships Top 8 seems like a repetition of 2015's stale metagame dominance at first glance, but it wasn't. 2016 is one of the few years, if not maybe the only one, where one group of testing's concept is so good that it demolishes the competition. The team that Wolf Glick, Marcus Snatter, and Barris Ockles brought to the tournament, all three of them in the top 8 of the event, and allowed Wolfie to finally take the glory home after several years of innovation and top 8 placements. What made this team so special? Well, every Pokemon was optimized beyond belief. The creative decisions were not made in the selection of Pokemon, but the way they were prepared for the tournament. The team consisted of Mega Gengar, Hitmontop, Raichu, Primal Kyogre, Bronzong, and Mega Rayquaza. Mega Gengar allowed the team to trap threats that it needed gone or disabled through burns, and was trained to survive an astounding amount of moves in a powerful restricted format. Hitmontop provided the team with Fake Out, Intimidate, and Feint Pressure to ensure that its hits would go through, while also utilizing Wide Guard effectively in order to counteract the many spread moves in the format. Assault Vest Raichu provided crucial Lightning Rod redirection and was a creative form of speed control and chip damage with moves like Nuzzle and Endeavor. Primal Kyogre was a monster, and Bronzong came equipped with Skill Swap in order to win the Weather Wars without having to compromise on EV spreads on the weather-inducing Pokemon, while also having neat tricks like Recycling Intimidate, Passing Levitate, and many more flexible uses. And Mega Rayquaza is every other Pokemon's sleep paralysis demon. The team was so good that it swept the competition, and it was also the first time most of these sets appeared on the big stage. Also worthy of note, this year Justin Karras placed a very impressive 6th place, utilizing Infernape as a tech choice. Using a naive nature, Justin Karras made sure that Infernape was hitting strong on both fronts with powerful overheats at close combat, threatening numerous Pokemon with one-hit KOs like Amoonguss, Bronzong, Kangaskhan, and other popular threats of the format. Karras also successfully utilized Fake Out and Quick Guard while coupled with a Focus Sash in order to ensure the Fake Out wars would be won consistently against other supporting Pokemon like Hitmontop, Smeargle, and Scrafty. 2016 is definitely some of the most memorable years in terms of player skill and creativity. The release of Pokemon Sun and Moon brought us another regional-only format. Many strategies appeared during this time, all mostly centered around the powerful use of terrains that the top of Pokemon set so consistently. Others were old classics like Raining Trick Room and Bulky Offense. The second place team created by San Pendelis brought something new to the table, Aurora Veil. The powerful combination of having both Reflect and Light Screen set up in the same turn allowed for previously unthinkable strategies like setting up while taking a hit with Pokemon like Xurkitree, Tapu Lele, and Garchomp, and while being supported with bulky defense Pokemon like Mandibuzz and Arcanine, allowed Stan to reach the Grand Finals with an entirely new strategy. Sometimes you just have to find your own ninja way. One would think that creativity would die when Incineroar got intimidated. The year was 2018. The support this Pokemon brought to the table was unprecedented and rivaled only in top 8 presence by threats such as Black and White Thundurus, Kyogre, and Mega Rayquaza. A starter Pokemon competing for the top spot as the VGC Messiah with absurdly powerful Pokemon like those, yet its year of debut was different. Its presence allowed Paul Ruiz to take the glory home thanks to its incredible call-out of bringing the little slug that could, Gastrodon. Gastrodon was a masterful choice considering how good its matchup was against Incineroar, Landorus, Heatran, Tapu Koko, Politoed, and Tapu Fini, which were some of the most common Pokemon in the 2018 metagame. Much like Arachnomani's Mamoswine 5 years earlier, who also made top 8 in 2018 by the way. Gastrodon provided an edge that allowed the rest of Paul's powerhouse Pokemon to shine much more, as they were much less worried about threats that usually checked them. The team had an incredible defensive backbone through double Intimidate in the form of Mega Salamence and Incineroar. Tapu Koko and Kartana gave the team great support with Electric Terrain and Tailwind, while remaining offensive threats as not to lose tempo. And Belly Drum Snorlax could catch the opponent slipping if it managed to set up. And it just goes to show, one good metagame call backed by a solid backbone can make all the difference. The 2019 World Championships was a format that allowed restricted Pokemon, and innovation in those formats tend to be in the form of optimization, strategies, and movesets, but not this year. This year, Hirofumi Kimura brought Umbreon close to taking everything with his 2nd place finish. This wasn't only an out-of-the-blue pick from Hirofumi, but also the only team that did not have
it's the Ice Barrier lore. I watched the YouTube video just a little while ago.
It was doing too much. Snarl served as a way to reduce special attacking teams' powers, while
also her name is Steve. Steve.
Like Solgaleo, Groudon, Rayquaza,
RPG Maker horror game reference.
Straight. Umbreon could use Helping Hand to support its teammates in securing kills they otherwise wouldn't be able to achieve, and was borderline impossible to get rid of due to its immense bulk and the crazy amount of health that Moonlight healed under the Primordial Sun set by Groudon. The rest of the team greatly capitalized and enjoyed the threats that Alone removed from the table, and established a very strong offensive core in Mega Salamence, Duskmane Necrozma, and Primal Groudon. Backed by Tapu Lele's Psychic Terrain to avoid priority moves and fake out support, the team could face every strategy comfortably. Hidofumi Kimuro's Umbreon is a legend. After a worldwide pandemic, the VGC World Champions returned in 2022. And what did they bring? Incineroar. They also brought Zacian. There were so many teams throughout the entire 2022 season using this combination that our brains here at FSG are unable to count. Even the winning team in Eduardo Cuna's first place team innovations from previous years like using Gastrodon to check Incineroar and Kyogre were also present. They weren't innovations anymore though, as Gastrodon had become a standard in the metagame after its success. Talk about a rise to glory. VGC history is curious in how cyclical it can feel at times. One year there's a crazy innovation, the next there is a couple breakthroughs, and sometimes if you don't play the strong team, you just don't play. It's what it is. The 2023 World Champions shocked competitors all over the world. In a season where players mostly practice with different regulations throughout the year, that slowly introduced new Pokemon each time and allowed players to truly explore the new terrestrialization mechanic. All hell broke loose right before the World Championships. An announcement that a new rule set that reintroduced extremely powerful Pokemon was going to be played right before the World Championship shook competitive players to their core. What do you do when the information you gathered throughout the whole season is suddenly discarded? Regulation D stood for destruction that year. A lot of players stuck to what they knew were staples, while incorporating new offensive powerhouses like Urshifu. One player thought one step ahead. Michael Kelch prepared a team that was not only using the new powerful Pokemon like Urshifu, but was perfectly equipped to handle new threats thanks to the addition of Rocky Helmet for Regiram. This creative choice allowed Michael to secure a second place finish because of the sheer advantage that this Pokemon represented in the mirror match. A Pokemon that had found very limited success in the previous regulations was suddenly a stop to the most significant threat in the tournament. Regiram allowed the rest of the offensive core that included Shenpao, Swords of Ruin, Dragon Ball, his own Urshifu, Rillaboom, and Heatran to play their game without worrying about something like Trick Room or other Urshifu winning their game. Once again, an example of how one great call-out can make all the difference. And as of writing the script, the 2024 VGC World Championships were yesterday. The entire False Swipe Gaming team was in awe of the creativity that players brought to the mix this year. Yuta Ishigaki's use of Iron Valiant was incredible to witness, as it was a creative way to support the team with a Pokemon that saw very little use throughout the year, in a metagame thriving with Miraidon. Two Wildcard users and coaching support in the form of Pelipper and Iron Valiant himself gave the team strong counterplay against the expected Calyrex onslaught that many players projected would appear at Worlds. It was strong enough that it allowed Yuta to get a second place finish at the event. Diego Ferreira's hard Trick Room team was also spectacular to see and proved once again that the use of Wide Guard with Iron Valiant's counterpart Gallade could do wonders. Every player in the top 8 brought many interesting tricks and optimizations allowed by terrestrialization and synergies between Pokemon, giving a new spin to old classics. Luca Carabelli's first place Electric Sea Terra Water for Regiram is proof of this concept. Pokemon is a game that evolves eternally, and that is part of the beauty in the game. Things may seem alike, but they are never exactly the same. And that's it. We believe that any Pokemon can be successful given the right circumstances. Sometimes a Pokemon counters the main threat perfectly, like Toxicroak in 2009, or Farigiraf in 2023. Others are a Pokemon that's just the right call for a particular metagame, as it hits what it needs to hit well to lessen the burden for the rest of the team, like Mamoswine in 2013, or Gastrodon in 2018. A Pokemon can also shine thanks to a particular moveset choice for Eevee Spread, like in 2016. And finally, a Pokemon can cover a niche so particular that only that Pokemon can do it right, just like Pachirisu, Parasect, and Iron Valiant. There will always be opportunities for any Pokemon to shine as long as competitors pay attention to the specific requirements that their team needs and metagame tendencies surrounding them. It is also the truth, however, that sometimes the metagame will not allow much diversity in the format because of the incredibly tight-knit and power-crept strategies that appear every so often. It is in these cases where trainers must shine through their in-game decisions and not through their preparation. And we hope that you enjoyed this video. Please tell us in the comments if you think we should have mentioned other Pokemon in other tournaments that have had incredible niche success, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, everyone, and as always, if you liked the video and you want to see more, be sure to subscribe to False Swipe Gaming for more weekly Pokemon content, and thank you so much to our patrons for continued support of our videos, and thank you to everyone else watching as well. And thank you so much to our Platinum patrons. Thank you to Alex Sable, Anthony Belval Renault, Bingleton, Daniel Isby, Funky, Blincherton, Gustavo, Hal, Jack G, Florida the Rabbit, Pretzel SP, Raven Daytona Race, Ray Ray, Skylaria, Soros and Croxton, Shiway BG, and Stoneface Colin for their major support of our videos. And follow my currently social media platforms. And that's all I got. See you next time, everyone.
Today we're doing Cuphead Hater Percent, which is where you 200% complete the game with all bosses on Expert Mode, only the Pea Shooter for a weapon, no supers, no charms, no hit. Every boss must be S rank, and every run and gun level must be pacifist. This challenge was originally created by speedrunner The Mexican Runner when he kept getting people complaining about him using glitches in speedrunning, so we made a category that literally nobody could complain about. Now we'll start out by getting a coin from the tutorial and 3 from this person on the bridge, and then it's time for the root map. Now to get an S rank on a boss, you need to take no hits, do at least 3 parries, use the X's 6 times, and beat the boss in under 2 minutes. So right at the first part, because these worms are very easy to parry, we can get our 3rd one right there. It also gets us a lot of cards. Now we can just finish this guy out pretty easily. Next up is going to be the onion, and here's where we're going to use a couple of our EXs. And like I said, we can't use any supers because those are things you have to unlock, but the EXs do come in Cuphead's base moveset, and you do actually need to use them to S rank bosses, so those are going to be fair game. Now finally we have the carrot, which is probably the hardest one out of these guys, but to be fair, this is the root pack. It's the easiest boss in the game, so there's not too much to worry about. It does suck not having a spread shot in this fight, but overall it is not too bad, and we just have to play kinda carefully before getting our knockout. Then you can see we got our S ranks, so we can move on. And next up we're going to have Ribby and Crows. Now this fight does increase the difficulty a little bit, and the main reason for that is that it's actually a little bit hard to get the time requirement. Like I said, you need to beat each of these bosses in under 2 minutes, and for this fight, that can go badly if you're not careful, so I'm really going to pay attention to trying to be fast, making sure we hit all of their attacks as soon as possible, and in this first phase we are going to get our parries, since it's one of the only places where you can actually get them. Now after dealing with a couple of those attacks, he's going to roll out, and we're going to have to deal with this attack where we just jump over the first one, duck under the other 2, and we can keep fighting. Then he'll also use these ball attacks, which aren't too much harder. It's just about making sure you're never getting hit. Then after doing enough damage, they'll transform and become a slot machine, where for the coins we just want to jump over a couple, go under a couple more, and hit the lever, where this time we got the ball. Now for the ball, this is probably one of the easier attacks. All you have to do is jump and drop. This used to be a pretty hard attack for me, but nowadays I get it done pretty easily. And for spin number 2, we got the ball again. And here is going to be the important part of trying to finish this guy off in only 2 cycles. If it takes more than that, you probably won't get it in under 2 minutes, and that's S rank number 2. Now we have our first running gun level, and like I said, this has to be pacifist. That means we can't shoot any of the enemies, but thankfully we don't have to do this one no-hit. And that is very good, because one of these running gun levels would actually be impossible if we did have to do it no-hit, which I'll explain once we get there. But for here, I still do have to focus on getting all the coins, because even though we won't be using any charms or other weapons, we do have to unlock them, which is kind of sad. But here's where the level's going to start getting a little bit tougher, because what we have to do is get one of these guys to throw a parryable ball, and then we can use that to go over the acorn maker. It's a little bit hard to get the timing, but we got it done. We can pick up our final few coins, and like you can see, that's going to be a P rank. Now we have the Goopy, and Goopy shouldn't be one of the harder bosses, and honestly he isn't. All he does is jump around, we just have to maintain our distance, and sometimes duck under his attacks. First phase, probably the easiest. Then once he transforms, this is where we're going to get all 3 of our parries, which is a very convenient place to get them too. And now for his big form, it's pretty much the exact same thing. Just go under certain attacks, duck under others. Now finally,
I feel like I'm forgetting something for some reason.
Gravestone, and we have to hit the face of the gravestone. All I'm doing right here is playing pretty carefully and trying to dodge out of the way whenever he does his head smash attack. It's honestly not that hard once you get the hang of it. And after just a bit, that's boss number 3 done. Don't worry, these S ranks will be getting harder soon. But not just yet, because Kona isn't too bad. So this fight, it's going to be our first aerial level, and that means we have a lot more space to move around, but there's also a lot more things that can hit us. And the big thing is going to be these green guys, which I want to take care of as soon as possible, because they can't even shoot something that you can parry. The purple guys can, so we do want to keep them alive when we can. Then we will use the Bomb EX in this level, since it came with Cuphead's original moveset, so it's fair game. And that's good, because we will want to use it on this phase, where she turns into like this Cupid guy, because that's going to do a ton of damage and get rid of this phase pretty quickly. Then after we deal with all those arrows, we're just trying to stay away from all this stuff, trying to get as many parries as possible. The sooner you get the parries, the better. I really don't like having to worry about them too late in the game. Finally, Hilda starts freaking out and turns into a mood, which we'll use another Bomb EX on. And then she's going to start extending her face, and then the foes come down. Now for the red ones, you can just move past them, and for the brown ones, you have to take them out. I've played this fight way too many times, so pretty easy win. But that might just be our last relatively easy S rank. Before we get onto the flower though, we have our running gun, and for this one, it's very strange. I'm super used to just completely murdering all these little guys, because they're so easy to just shoot, get out of your way, you not have to worry about them. But in this one, I actually have to be careful. And then once we get to the end, we get a coin, and then in this section, there are going to be these bugs. These guys are kind of hard to dodge just because they go all over the place, but we just have to maintain our distance, go up and dodge all the log attacks as well, and finally jump over that last thing, where is going to be this next coin. Now onto this last section, there's all these little guys who are holding leaves, and every time we stand on them, they get hit by a fireball. Kinda sad. But after we get our last coin, all we have to do is jump over this last person, and that's going to be the win with another P-rank. Now before we fight the last boss of Aisle 1, we also want to do the Mausoleum. Sadly, we won't be able to use this super, but we still have to unlock it. Now it's time for the fight that everybody was waiting for, Flowey on Expert Mode. And this fight is terrible. When you're playing Expert Mode at the start, Flowey just spams this one attack where he spawns all his different creatures. And the most annoying one is the pink one that you can parry. If we don't parry one of those guys, they can very easily kill you, so I try to parry them as much as possible, especially because I do have to get 3 parries anyways. But we're trying to just get as much damage as we can, and we actually got through it pretty quickly. Then onto his second phase, he finally uses other attacks. And compared to the first phase, this part is super easy. Then finally, Flowey gets super angry and starts spawning roots towards all the platforms, which isn't too bad. All we have to do is just pay attention, make sure that nothing's gonna hit us from below. This boss did take me quite a few attempts, but we got him done, and that's also Aisle 1 done. Well, besides one last coin we'll pick up right here. Now onto Aisle 2, and the difficulty stays very high up because now we have Bon Bon. Now she starts with her candy attacks, and these can be a couple of different things. For the first one, we got this candy corn who keeps going in different directions. We also have to pay attention to the little pink guys that sometimes spawn and parry them, because they're pretty much the only things we can parry in this fight. Next up, we got the chocolate guy, or waffle guy. I still don't know exactly what it is. One of the easier guys, just gotta keep your distance. And finally, we got the gumball. I do not like the gumball, especially in expert mode, because he has 2 guys trailing him instead of just 1. So I did get a parry right there, which was really nice. But other than that, I just want to keep my distance, stay away, use some EXs when I can, and got him done as well. We also got our third and final parry right after he was done, which was really nice. And now it's time to take care of Bon Bon, which this phase is terrifying, especially when you have to beat the level no hit, because she spawns her heads and this gumball, which gets rid of the ground. And sometimes she can spawn 2 heads at once. This is also a fight where you kind of have to pay attention to time. It is easy to not get the 2-minute time requirement here if you're not careful, but I didn't have a problem with this one. Another hard fight done. Now we'll save the barber guy over here, because that's another requirement of this run, before our next running gun level. Which this is the running gun, which would actually be impossible if we couldn't take damage during that. Now it starts out with our trampoline boy, which I absolutely love this guy. He's just so adorable. Then we make it past all these guys rolling on balls, stuff like that. But after that section, we get to here, where first of all, there are going to be all these guys who are just hanging on these ropes. We can't shoot them, so we have to do a very precise movement to go in between one of them, and then we're going to take damage during the second one so we can go through the cannons and get through that part without shooting anything. That is super precise. It took me so many tries to get, and I do not want to do it again. After that, there's going to be this little boss guy, who we're going to have to take damage to again. So now we have to play perfectly. And this is a very hard section to play perfectly in, because you're going to have all these pretzel guys who are jumping up and down, and a hot dog that is shooting condiments. So I very much take my time in this section. I have lost way too many runs to this part, and this is a terrible level to have to redo. Then finally at the end, we have to do a perfect jump right over the hot dog and just barely make it over him without getting hit, which makes this definitely one of the most stressful P ranks in the run. Now on to Wally, and this is a boss that surprisingly is very difficult. Now the first few phases aren't too bad. In this first one, we want to pay attention to parrying all the pink birds and just dodging all Wally's attacks, just like usual. Then for his second phase, right away we'll use the Bomb EX, and then it's pretty much just more or less dodging some things. This attack seems pretty intimidating, but it isn't too bad. Then on to his third phase, he turns into a little guy, which we want to stay up close and personal to him. That way we can get as much damage as possible. Then before his eggs come and attack us, we want to use the super, that way we get invincibility frames. Then we'll finish him out by getting up close and personal once again. And now it is time for by far the hardest phase of this fight. And that's because in this fight, you're supposed to have another ability, which is the bomb attack, but that doesn't come with your original moveset, so we're not allowed to actually use it. And that means we basically can't do any damage to Wally unless he's on the right side of the screen. This makes for a terrifying fight that takes so much time, and there were a couple different times where I beat the boss, but I didn't get the time required because of it. Overall, such a hard fight. I probably spent at least an hour on this one, but we got it done. The little birds get their dinner, and we get our S rank. Now we're on to the clown, and this guy, kind of annoying, but not too bad. He's going to start out with his card attack. We want to deal with the ducks as they come because they can very easily hit you. Just jump over him, use a couple EXs like usual. But then we get to his next phase. Now one nice thing about this fight is parrying the nose on the train actually counts towards one of your parries at the end. There are some things you can parry in this game which won't count towards that counter, but thankfully that's one of them, which makes this fight a lot easier to S rank. Then we have to deal with the train along with him being on one of his horses. Sometimes these attacks can be very annoying. The green attacks aren't too bad, but when he's on the yellow horse and there's a train, it's awful. But we finished out that phase actually extremely fast, which was good because this is another one which I have to worry about time. Now finally, at the end, he turns into whatever this thing is, and we're going to start by shooting him up in the face before jumping on his different platforms and dodging the train. Then he'll start spawning little penguin guys, and what I like doing for this is taking care of both of the right guys and then leaving the left guys alive. That's because just dealing with two honestly isn't that bad, but when there's all four of them with all their baseballs, it can get very annoying, which you see right here as I accidentally left one of them alive. So we had three. I almost died, but we stayed alive and thankfully finished him out. In this one, we were super close to not getting the time, but we finished it in 2 minutes and got our S rank. Up next is the genie, and right away he's going to use his jewelry attack, which there are going to be a couple parryable things. This is a pretty hard attack to dodge, but I've gotten better at it, and we can also end that phase with a nice EX. Then onto the walls, we see his face on a wall, we have to shoot through that, and then go through that gap. Next up, he has his coffin attack, which you can get a nice EX right at the beginning of it, since it's going to hit it multiple times.
Maybe it's an achievement or something.
After that, just dodging attacks, probably his easiest phase. I never really have problems with this one. Leading us to the replica phase, where he makes a replica of us. I know, it's beautiful. Tries to shoot us with it while his hat attacks us. This can be kind of annoying, but it is a great place for us to get a few parries in, and we were finally onto his last phase. Where in this one, I try staying towards the bottom so he got his first hat attack, and then we just pay attention to where the pyramids are, and either go up or down from there, which is pretty easy, and we get him done. Only one more S rank to go on aisle 2. Oh, we do also finish Mausoleum 2. Not too much to say about that one. And then it's finally time for Dragon. Now this fight is incredibly hard with our restrictions. First of all we have is the pea shooter, and in this fight it's really nice to have the lobber, especially on the later phases. But for this first one, what I'm going to do is just try to pay attention to both his tail attacks, all of his fireballs, and we also have to get our parries within this first phase. The first phase is the only phase to actually have parryable things, so I just pay attention to when he uses Zai attack, and I try to get them as much as possible, which I was thankfully able to get 3. Then next up, his second phase is probably the easiest, because all it is his little guys jump up, and they always make a sound before they jump up, so you know when they're going to. They're pretty easy to dodge. Then finally, phase number 3, and I hate this phase. First of all, he shoots a bunch of these fireballs, and if you hit them, then they spawn more attacks in all 4 directions, so that can very easily hit you if you're not careful. Then he's also going to have this flamethrower attack, which we have to go to a higher up cloud, that way we can dodge it. But I was able to bring everything together, and finally beat this guy. Another S rank done, but we're only getting started on how difficult this run is. Now we'll grab another hidden coin, and then we're on to the other run and gun in aisle 2, and this is a pretty easy one. It starts out with all these cars we got, then we have this wall, and what we have to do is jump over the cars it spawns, and then go in its mouth. Then in this next section, it's pretty much just about dashing through some things, getting a couple coins, and trying not to get hit by the cannonballs. Followed by this part where there are all these moving platforms. There are different musical instruments that use music attacks, kinda rude of them. And I did get hit a second time in this section, but I still made it through to the end, where there's gonna be one last gigantic wall, and like last time, it's gonna use an attack where it opens its mouth, then we can go in that open mouth. P rank number 4 done. Now on to aisle 3, and we start out aisle 3 with a bang, because we have to fight the bee. Beating the bee with only the pea shooter is so difficult. This one took me a couple hours to finally get. It starts out with the security guard, which we just have to pay attention to not getting hit by any of his attacks. Not too bad at the beginning. Then the bee will actually come out, and it started out with her ball attack, so we were able to get our second 2 parries right here. Next up is her middle attack. I tried staying up as high as possible, and sometimes I jumped to dodge the projectiles, and other times we could duck. Then she came over to the right, where this time she spawned a triangle. I just try to generally stay out of the way here, and then it's the middle attack again, same old, same old. Then finally she brings out a book and transforms into an airplane, which is where this fight actually gets difficult. Because what we have to do when we only have the pea shooter is constantly be shooting down. Now one of the hard things about this is if you're aiming down and then you press jump, then you're gonna go through the platform. So I have died multiple times just to that, and I've had to get really good at making sure I stop aiming down before I actually jump. It took me so long to learn how to do this fight, especially because in speedruns you can pretty much skip this phase entirely. But finally, we got her done. And thankfully, we did the S rank correctly. Next up, it's run and gun time, and for this one, there are going to be all these goats who are throwing things at us. We can just dodge around them, and also these fire guys, which keep going in circles. Then, onto the cat, we'll wait till he stops blowing, and then jump over. Finally, last part of this goat section, I want to stand right by him, that way I can jump over him and grab that coin before we make it to the elevator. This part is a little annoying without attacking anybody, but it's honestly not too bad. You just have to jump over people, pay attention to all the dragons, and also grab this coin as you're going down. Now onto the last section, there are going to be these walls that spawn. I want to parry off their faces, and then we can go through. There's going to be another kitty cat, which just like last time, we do the same thing, though I messed it up this time. And then for the last part of this level, we have this huge guy who shows up and keeps breaking all the platforms. Now this really isn't that bad, you just have to maintain his pace and make sure you pick up a couple coins on the way. I did take a hit of damage right there because for some reason I didn't dash, but that just meant I had to play even more carefully, so I dodged all the fires and finally made it to the end of yet another run and gun. Only one more P rank to go. Now we're on to the robot. For this one, right away we want to go to his head because you can actually break his entire head before it uses any attacks. Then we want to parry the thing in the middle and go towards the bottom. Here we're going to take out the entire bottom section, which just requires a little bit of attack in there. It's going to start spawning these bomb guys, but we can take them out, explode them before they get to us, and also aim for his middle section, which is where it's going to show his heart. From here, it's pretty much just keep shooting at the middle section. He is going to spawn in a magnet, which pulls you towards it, but I can maintain my distance, get him onto his second phase, and use a bomb EX on his flying head. Then we still have to do a little bit more damage to his head before he gets onto his last phase. And this phase is definitely the most annoying phase of the entire fight, because it's just really long. It's not even that hard, but you have to do it for so long. Just stay alive, worry about every single projectile, and yeah, I'm not too much of a fan. But we can get a few more parries here if we do need them, and eventually we got him done. And that was honestly one of the easier S ranks on aisle 3. Next up, on to Sally's stage play, we want to get really close to her, because a lot of times she'll just jump over you and it's really easy. She'll also use her heart attack sometimes, which we can get a parry with, and yeah, first phase altogether, we get 2 parries, and it wasn't that bad. Then on to phase number 2, she pretty much does all the same stuff, but there's also a baby that's coming from the different windows and trying to hit you with milk buckets. There are also going to be all these car attacks, which spawn on the ground and then come down at you once they see you. A little bit more difficult, but still not that bad. Then for phase number 3, she turns into the devil and has a couple different attacks. First is going to be the meteor attack, which we want to destroy. There's going to be the lightning attack, which we need to dodge, and the big wave attack, where we need to use the star of the meteor spawn to jump over. By the way, that star doesn't count for one of her parries, so we still do need one more. And we'll get that last parry in her last phase, where she's an angel by the top of the ceiling, and there are going to be a couple flowers that come down, we can parry one of those. Other than that, we'll just keep jumping, hitting her with our pea shooter and a couple of X's. And finally, she gets taken out. Surprisingly difficult S rank. Now we're on to Werner Werman, and for this one, the parries are kind of difficult because you have to get them in this attack. So what you can do is sometimes you'll spawn two parryable items right by each other, and if you just spam the jump button, you can get both of them, and right away we got all three of our parries, which is good because this first phase is definitely the best time to get parries. And then he used the same attack a second time, so we got even more parries, which allowed us to do even more EXs. Probably the best start I've ever had on this boss. But now on to the second phase. What we have to do here is pay attention to where he is. Sometimes he'll be on the top layer, sometimes the bottom one, and he'll be using a flamethrower attack, while all these bottle caps will also try to attack us too. It's just about paying attention to where the bottle caps are, making sure you have enough time to deal with them, and then the cat comes in and eats the rat. So for the cat attacks, we're pretty much just aiming up at him and dodging the pollen attack, plus all the projectiles that come from the top. He's also going to spawn a bunch of these rats, but honestly, they're really not that bad. You can take them out, but there's no real need to. They only sometimes spawn a projectile, and you can just jump over it, and you're pretty much good. So yeah, goodbye Werner, and that's a nice S rank. Now we're on to Captain Beard, and this fight is so difficult. Since we have the pea shooter, we want to be really close to him, but whenever he uses the octopus attack, we gotta get far away, get a couple parries, and then only some of our ships are actually gonna hit. Then eventually the ship is gonna start joining in on the action, and it's gonna attack us with its cannonball attack, so that's just another thing to worry about, along with all the different animals that Beard spawns, and of course the barrel that attacks you from the ceiling. But phase 1 is really not that bad compared to phase 2, where the ship gets rid of Beard and starts attacking us itself. Now what we have to do for this fight, if we want to get the time requirement, is actually parry on top of his gigantic laser beam. This is pretty hard to do, pretty specific timing, but it is required if you're going to be fast enough and using the pea shooter. Normally you could just duck under it, but I have to make sure I hit all of these together. It lets us get a ton more damage in and gives us some more stuff for EXs, meaning we can finish them out. But before our next bosses, we have our last running one. And for this one, it has a pretty annoying start with all these volcano guys which spout up all the projectiles. There's a bunch of birds, people coming on the ground, but we make it through them, make it over to this crab section where I use him to get a coin. And then we meet this lobster guy. The lobster, he keeps chasing after you, and if you're not fast enough, then he's gonna hit you. So I have to make sure I keep up my speed. We barely make it over to the ship where there's gonna be another coin. But now we have the hardest part. There's gonna be this fish guy, which when you hit the top of his head, he spits out a cannonball. And we have to use that to take care of any boulders that are in our way, while also not getting hit by all these flying guys that just keep coming after you. They are terrifying. It is very important you keep all your HP up for this section, because without shooting, this part is definitely the hardest. I did end up getting hit twice here, but we finally finished it out, and that'll be our final P rank. Now we're on to Kala Maria, and this fight is our next airplane level, where it is a little annoying in expert mode. She has a couple different attacks she can use right at the beginning, and it is a good place to get our first parry. But she started with the fish one, which was nice because she couldn't chain two attacks together. I can't say that for the next attack though, because she starts spawning all these guys coming up from the bottom, along with these ghosts which come after us. Kinda hard to dodge, but we did it and got the rest of our parries during it. Then she combined the guy who sprays you upwards, along with her electric fish which fly around. Pretty easy stuff to dodge. And finally, the last thing of her first phase, she combined the turtle and the ghost again. Just barely dodged everything, but we got the first phase done. Now she goes full Medusa mode and starts turning us into stone, along with having all these eels which will attack us too. So what I want to do is just try to maintain my distance, and I almost got really unlucky here and got turned into stone before getting hit by one of the eels. That could have been very bad, but we got lucky enough to stay alive. And that happened the second time too. Yeah, this fight's terrifying. But finally, onto the last phase, it's just her head, and she's gonna spawn some skull guys, try to turn us into stone, and there will also be spinning spikes that we have to dodge. Pretty hard phase, but we got it done, meaning there's just 3 more S ranks to go. We will pick up this secret gold coin, and then we're on to the Phantom Express. And this fight is another one which is very hard. Honestly, all of the last 3 bosses are definitely the hardest of the run. So for this one, at the beginning, we want to keep parrying things. And I've said earlier in the run that it's really important to pay attention to going fast, because if you don't, you can easily get under 2 minutes. This is the first boss where that is a huge problem instead of just one to pay attention to. And because of that, we have to make sure we parry absolutely everything so we can use as many EXs as possible. Anyways, we get through his first 2 phases while keeping that in mind, and then he spawns 2 different heads. Now we're going to hope that the head that we choose doesn't use the first electric attack. Thankfully, we got lucky here, so we can take out the right one and then go over to the left. You're going to have plenty of time to go over before he uses another attack, so we can do just that. And there are also going to be all these ghost guys, forgot to mention them, but we have to hit them, and then they'll also spawn variable attacks too. Now we're adding all of that together, making sure we have tons of EXs, and finally it's time for the last phase, where we have to carry this guy's tail and then hit his furnace heart. Meanwhile, there's going to be fire coming down, there's going to be a bone attack, sometimes there are going to be pumpkins that are dropping more parry things. There is so much that goes on in this phase, and it's absolutely terrifying. This fight took me so long to do, but finally it's done. Only 2 more S ranks to go. But before those, we're going to grab this point by the casino and do Mausoleum 3, where our only real thing we have to worry about is getting 4 parries in a row without touching the ground. So we will get that super, and then because we did all 4 of those parries, we can come to this guy, and he's going to give us a coin. Then I'm also going to pick up this coin, which I forgot to get earlier from this person, before heading to the shop and buying absolutely everything. I wish I could use this stuff. And it is finally time for King Dice. This guy is such a hard boss fight because we have to beat all of his mini-bosses and not take a single hit of damage. Normally to get an S rank in this fight, you can just use all the extra hearts he gives you because you can end up with a total of 6 health. And as long as you have 3 by the end, it counts for the S rank. But for our purposes, we're not going to do that. We have to make sure that no haters can hate about a single thing in this run, meaning we have to do it no hit, and it is so hard. So we start out with the Tipsy Trio. We just take care of the first 2 people at the beginning, then finally the last one. Not too bad in the first fight. Next up we have Chips, and for this one you want to aim toward his head, then dodge through all his different pieces, and duck under the ones that are too high. I make sure to stop shooting during this section because it's actually pretty scary. A lot of these dodges you have to do are pretty precise, but as soon as the bottom dice gets dodged, you can just duck under the rest of them. So this fight went pretty well. Next up is Mr. Wheezy, and this guy's going to shoot these fireballs at us that we can pretty easily dodge just by knowing their patterns, and every once in a while he's going to switch sides, so we have to make it to the other side while dodging all the flying creatures. Probably the easiest King Dice mini-boss. Now fourth is going to be Pip and Dot, and this fight is surprisingly difficult. I honestly thought this would have been one of the easier ones, but I have lost quite a few runs to this boss just because there's so much going on. The spiky floor at the bottom can sometimes be annoying. There are all the projectiles they spawn, and it's just a fight you have to really pay attention to, otherwise things can go very wrong. And now we're on to Hocus Pocus, and this fight is so difficult. Now normally, you'll have Smoke Dash in this game, and this fight isn't too bad, but when you don't have it, it becomes very hard. You'll see that sometimes he spawns his skulls in a way where you have to go diagonally down, and those inputs are very hard to do consistently. I've become a lot better at them just from doing this fight, but this guy is probably the #1 run ender for me within King Dice. Next up is the Horsey. This is a plane level, and it's kinda bad, but not too bad. There are going to be the blue riders at the bottom, and they'll hop up and try to hit you, so we have to pay attention to those. And there's also going to be these crescents, which transform into multiple horseshoes, but they move really slow, so they're not too bad. This fight can sometimes go badly, but definitely one of the easier ones. Now we have the roulette table, and other than the rabbit, this is probably the hardest boss. And that's because right at the beginning, we have to jump through all her attacks, and then she uses this ball attack, which you have to jump through the opening. It is so precise to do that, and yeah, this fight is terrifying, but we got it done. Now we have the 8-ball, and in normal mode, this fight isn't too bad, but in expert mode, it actually kind of is. He sometimes uses magic attacks on you, and there are also going to be all the cube guys who jump around, but just pay attention to them, and you're probably going to be fine. Only one more mini-boss to go. And that mini-boss is Mr. Chimes. I hate this guy with a passion. So what you have to do is match his cards together, and then he's going to go into attacking you with music attacks.
That's a lot of new stuff.
Card thing, and basically continue that process. I guess I don't despise him that much, I just would never be friends.